Jim Gary has never won a championship. He looks for his first. And speaking of first, Gene Matzik won it last year in his first. It's Rochester, Fort Cherry, and it's the Class A championship game. Now let's go up to our broadcast team for game number one. Guy Junker, Sam Lavasto, and Mike White.
Thanks a lot, Phil, and a beautiful day it is here at Heinz Field for the first high school championships to be decided in this building. Mike White, the Scholastic Sports Editor of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Sam Lavasto, who once coached the Monaca Indians to a WPIAL title in 1975, also the head coach of Quaker Valley and Avonworth before he retired. And guys, we got two teams playing here today that emulate the professional team that plays in this building. They like to run, they play good defense. Sam, why don't you tell us a little bit about Rochester? We can pick a bunch of backs out that like to run the ball to tell us about Javon Bradley.
Javon Bradley is a workhorse. I mean, he's 5'10", 200 pounds. He's rushed the football 155 times this year. He's got 1,129 yards rushing and 15 TDs, and he's the workhorse of the football team.
When you talk about the Fort Cherry Rangers, they can do a lot of things too, and they got a guy, a legitimate Division I prospect. In fact, he's already received offers from both Toledo and Ohio University. Perry Ivory. What makes him kind of special, Mike, is he lines up at running back, he lines up at wide receiver. You never know where he's going to be.
Well, you know, Guy, Fort Cherry's colors are red and white, but this team definitely has an ivory tint to it. Perry Ivory, he is Mr. Versatility, the third leading rusher on the team this year with over 600 yards. He's carried the football 93 times, but he's also the leading receiver for Fort Cherry with 49 catches. And then if you look at him on defense, he's a very good defensive back. He has 3 interceptions this year, and it's that all-in-the-family thing in the Fort Cherry secondary with Perry Ivory, Josh Kemp, and Jeremy Kemp. They're all cousins.
Fort Cherry won the Ohio Valley Conference with a 7-0 record. Rochester's the defending state and WPIAL champions, but they struggled a little bit in conference play this year, losing twice. They actually were the 10th seed in Class A, but they're back again, looking for their 3rd title in the last 4 years and their 3rd state championship possibly in the last 4 years. The Class A kickoff between Rochester and Fort Cherry coming up right after this.
Got some spare change? Then get to McDonald's, because cheeseburgers are only 49 cents every Monday and Thursday. And every Sunday, 20-piece chicken McNuggets are just $2.99. 49-cent cheeseburgers and $2.99 20-piece chicken McNuggets, only at McDonald's.
It's the gift of a grandchild's laugh. It's the gift of a sister's advice. It's the holiday gift they'll really love. Time together. Thanks to Verizon Wireless.
Now get 3,500 total monthly minutes for just $35 monthly access on select digital plans, so you can call anyone, anywhere in the U.S. and talk all you want with nationwide long distance included, and get a free Motorola phone with activation after mail-in rebate.
So give your loved ones the gift they really want. You. Verizon Wireless. Join in.
There's something genuinely healthy about competition. It eliminates complacency, pushes people to new heights, inspires new ideas. Our idea is to put healthcare decisions in the hands of the people who know best, the doctors. It's a better way of providing healthcare. UPMC Health Plan. Choose your healthcare as if your life depended on it.
Hi, I'm Bill Oliveria of Oliveria Chevrolet Buick. Out here at McDonald, we do business a little different. We don't use a lot of hype to sell cars. We sell cars by exceeding our customers' expectations, and we have for over 30 years. Come on in and look around. We have a full line of new Chevrolets and Buicks to choose from, and we're offering the lowest finance and lease rates available.
Oliverio Chevrolet Buick, Laurel Hill Road, in the hills of McDonald, minutes from Cannonsburg and South Fayette.
There's no hype in the hills, just an honest car buying experience.
The WPIAL Football Championships on Fox Sports Net are presented by McDonald's. We love to see you smile. And by Verizon Wireless. Join in. Let's take a look how these two teams got here today. The Rochester Rams in the playoffs shut out South Fayette 12-0, beat Monessen 14-6. And then last week beat Farrell 19-8 in a game where they allowed the Steelers just 2 first downs. For Fort Cherry, they beat Western Beaver 20-0, Greensburg Central Catholic 6-3, and Monaca 27-6. Rochester wins the toss. They elect to receive, and the game is underway. Sam LaFazzo, you were talking before the game how both of these teams are mirror images of each other statistically, what they like to do, what they do well.
Guy, what I saw when I was going over the teams, that you could throw a handkerchief over top of the two teams. They both have a 10-2 record. Fort Cherry's only given up 95 yards. Rochester's given up 97 yards all year. Offensively, they've scored 351 points. Rochester 336 points. They both have a 1,000-yard rusher in the backfield. I mean, the difference between in today's game is going to be the fact I think there's going to be a turnover.
There already has been.
There has been one.
Opening kickoff, turnover by Rochester. Fort Cherry ball, Ben Farrell looking for room off the right side, has none. Great field position for Fort Cherry on the Rochester 28-yard line, but Farrell gets thrown for a loss.
You know, I think it's very important, guys. Fort Cherry established themselves early in the game. Rochester's defending champ. They have all the moxie. They're coming down here with the swagger. Fort Cherry, I still think they're the underdog. They have to establish something early, and that turnover, boy, that's big.
One thing they can build on, they beat Monaca, the #1 seed in A. Rochester lost to Monaca in the regular season, though. All right, it's second down now and 9. Farrell actually did pick up 1 yard with a forward progress. And they're going to throw. It's complete to Perry Ivory. Touchdown, Fort Cherry.
Well,
second play of the game.
Trevor Martinchak rolled out to the left on a sprint out of the slot formation I, and Perry Ivory just came right over the middle, Mike, and he caught the ball and went right down for a touchdown.
You know, you'll see Perry Ivory line up many different places this year. As you said, Martinick rolling out. Ivory, he'll hurt you with the run. He'll hurt you receiving. He'll hurt you on defense. Boy, is this important for Fort Cherry to strike quickly, confidence-wise, guy.
Martinick's 122nd pass of the year in their 13th game. They don't throw a lot. They do throw a little more than Rochester. As long as they get the ball in Ivory's hands, they're happy.
And I think what happens with Martinchak, he's 5'10", 165-pound senior. He's thrown for 61 completions out of 121 attempts for 1,004 yards and 10 touchdowns. So he is capable of throwing the football.
The extra point by Ron Catrain is good, and Fort Cherry off to a 7-0 lead. And Mike, you were saying it's good for them to establish things early here. The only other championship game that Jim Gary has played in, had his team in, was when they lost to Riverview in a game that we did at Three River Stadium in 1998. He's been there 43 years, coached some great players, and has had a lot of success, but has not won the championship. There you see him. He won't say how old he is, other than he's younger than Joe Paterno, but maybe by a month.
You know, Jim's been around for so long. I think his son, especially his son, Timmy Gary, he really, I think, is kind of the coach of this team. And Jim will admit that. He has another son coaching also, but Timmy Gary, Jim's son, I think Jim would like him someday to be the coach when he does retire, which will probably be in about another, 30 years, Jim will finally retire.
He's the offensive coordinator, Timmy is, and he played quarterback for his dad, so... All right, we'll try this over again. Things worked out well. Fort Cherry kicked off to open the game. Rochester fumbled. 2 plays later, it's 7-0 Rangers.
Guy, I think this is going to be important that Rochester come back and establish something here. And they're going to have really good field position on about the 42-yard line.
Jermaine Moore gets the ball at the 18 on the bounce, took it out to the 42, and now we'll put Rochester's offense to work for you. The Rams, they run the ball even more than Fort Cherry. We mentioned Martinek had thrown 141 passes to this point in the season. Adam Moore, the Rochester quarterback, only 89.
Yes, he's a 5'10", 170-pound senior. He's only thrown for 881 yards the entire season.
Moy comes in motion. Handoff is going to go to Bradley, and he is stuck. Nowhere to go. Mike Harrington, the linebacker for Fort Cherry, and Steve Blanchard hit on the tackles. Take a look at the Rochester starting lineup for you. Everything happened so fast in that first series, we didn't get to set it for you. Moy and Bradley, the running backs. Eric Buford, the split end. Mitch Getman and Tyler Palm, the double tights. On the offensive line, Skylar Freed, Jim Sadler, Nick Manarino's the center, Ryan Woods, and Justin Hedlund rounding out things up front. It'll be second down and 8. Bradley picked up a couple of yards on the forward progress. Nate Waldron in motion. Moy's going to carry this time. He gets over the 45 to about the 46, and that's it.
Let's take a look at that Fort Cherry defense, and it is a good one. Both of these teams have hardly allowed anything in their 3 playoff wins. Tom Weaverling, Steve Blanchard, Terry Crowley, and Trevor Martin. How about that? Trevor, the quarterback, also plays defensive end. Ben Farrell, Matt Schiff, Mike Harrington, and David Hirsch are your linebackers. And in the secondary, the Kemp twins and their cousin, Perry Ivory. The 3 of them have 11 interceptions combined.
Watch those 2 down people on Fort Cherry's defense. They are reestablishing the line of scrimmage, and there's a lot of pressure, and there's almost an interception on that screen pass.
But Moore completes it to Bradley, and he's got some room. He's out over midfield and down to the 41-yard line. A first down before David Hirsch makes the stop for Fort Cherry. A little dangerous there. Adam Moore was pressured. He got the ball away. Bradley made the catch and had some room to run. The blocking was there for him. And Rochester now on the move. They trail 7-0 early.
Trevor Martinick read that play beautifully for Fort Cherry. Guy just missed that interception. No, Adam Moore is not a great passer, but I think that's good for his confidence-wise to complete something short early and get some yardage.
It was a great call, too.
Rochester in Fort Cherry territory. 1st and 10 on the 41-yard line. But Adam Moore wants to call a timeout. Did he call it before there was a little motion in the backfield there?
It looks like they're going to give him the timeout, yes.
He wants to go over and talk things over. All right, there's Gene Matzuk. He's in his 2nd year. Now, Dan Matzuk, his brother, had coached Rochester to championship a few years back, took the job as the superintendent in Neshannock. And Gene, who had worked with his brother as an assistant coach for years, 1986, I believe he first got there, took over, and he thinks it's kind of easy. He wins the WPIAL and a state championship in his first year last year with the Rams, and on the verge of winning another WPIAL title here today.
Imagine what it's like to not know what it's like to not win a championship. He doesn't know. He won the state last year, won the WPIAL. He doesn't know what it's like to lose in that big game.
What a conference the Big 7 is to Mike and Sam. I mean, it's 3 straight years now. The championship game has been all Big 7 teams. Monaco's lost it 3 years in a row, twice to Rochester. This is the first non-all Big 7, Big 8. They have 8 teams now, but they're stubborn and still call it the Big 7. And Jim Gary, Ohio Valley Conference, not quite as tough as the Big 7, but yet he beat some tremendous teams in the playoffs. And, you know, Fort Cherry's defense allowing just 9 points in their 3 playoff wins.
You know, you talk about the Big 7. Let's, in recent years, go back even further. The champion of the WPIAL Single A 11 times in the past 15 years has been from that conference, the Big 7.
Okay, Rochester has an idea what they want to do now after the timeout. Moy comes in motion behind quarterback Moore. 2nd man through is going to be Waldron. He picks up some room off the left side and gets down to the 35-yard line. Nate Waldron on the carry. Jeremy Kemp and David Hirsch on the tackle for Fort Cherry.
And what they're doing now as far as their offensive sets is similar to what they've done, Mike, for the last 3 or 4 or 5 years. They have cross-buck action. They're utilizing the different direction in the backfield, and then they just bring it across the trap on the left side.
Gain of 6 at 2nd and 4. The ball on the Fort Cherry 35-yard line. Rochester fumbled the opening kickoff. Fort Cherry turned it into a touchdown, the first sustained drive of the game. Pitch to Bradley on the left side. He's got some room over the 30, down to the 27-yard line. He's stopped by Jeremy Kemp.
You know, you talk about Rochester falling behind early, 7-0, but they won't go out of their game plan. They'll stick to the bread and butter, which is keep it on the ground. Javon Bradley, nice kick-out block there by Jermaine Moy. Still not doing a little bit of a drive now.
Another first down, 1st and 10 at the 27-yard line. Three men in the backfield.
Strong set to the right. Power sweep.
Pitch goes to Bradley. Has no room to run. He's thrown for a loss. Nice defensive play that time by Trevor Martinick. As I said, Sam, you don't see a quarterback play defensive end often, but he's showing you right there.
He's really a tough kid, but what I really like about Fort Cherry is Rochester, Mike, has a lot of speed, but Fort Cherry has as much speed as they do. They're not going to be able to run that pass sweep without having a lot of pressure coming.
Trevor Martinick, you mentioned, I think a lot of heart with that kid there, Guy. But, you know, Class A football, you see that a lot because you don't have as many kids. You see kids maybe playing a halfback and a middle linebacker or a defensive end.
Loss at 2. It's 2nd and 12 at the 30. Waldron left side picks up about 3 yards. Going to be 3rd down and 9. Stephen Blanchard on the tackle along with Matt Schiff for Fort Cherry.
Fort Cherry's defensive front four are really reestablishing the line of scrimmage, and they're putting a lot of pressure on the offensive line of Rochester at this point.
Talk about the quarterback playing defensive end. There are 181 boys in grades 9 through 12 at Fort Cherry High School. Rochester has 126. Butler, for example, the biggest school in the Quad A, has over 1,000 boys in grades 9 through 12. They're going to throw it across the middle, and the pass is hot. A nice grab for Rochester by Tyler Palm, the tight end. He's 6'3", and he used all of that height to reach up and yank that one in. These teams don't throw a lot, but Rochester's thrown twice now. Fort Cherry threw once. All three have been complete. All three for nice gains. One for a touchdown.
I think what happens when you get to this game, you know, you let all the different tendencies, they have to go by the wayside. You want to win the football game, and you're going to do whatever it takes to do that.
1st and 10 on the 14-yard line now for Rochester. Handoff goes to Moy, and he gets down inside the 10 to the 9. Tackle made by David Hirsch. We called his name a lot. Good linebacker for the Fort Cherry Rangers. He's a senior.
Simple handoff to Jermaine Moy. He was the second leading rusher on the team last year. I think this year, people thought Jermaine Moy would have a gigantic year. He's had a good year, but maybe not what people expected. But I think part of that reason is the emergence of Javon Bradley.
You're exactly right, Mike. I thought Jermaine Moy was going to have a big year also.
This is the 8th play of the drive now. 2nd and 5. The ball on the 9-yard line. Here goes Moy. He's going to get into the end zone for a touchdown. Jermaine Moy right on the Steeler logo in the middle of the field. And Rochester has pulled to within 7-6. And that was an impressive drive, guys. 8 plays. They marched down the field. They even came back a couple of times after being tossed for losses, picked up a few first downs, and they're right back in the game.
I think what happens is, if you'll notice, that Rochester's stretching the field, and then they're coming back with their power game up the middle, and they're just catching Fort Cherry a little bit off.
Javon Bradley will kick the extra point to try to tie this thing up in the south end zone. Kick is up. And the kick is no good. So Fort Cherry holds on to a 7-6 lead early here in the Class A championship. We'll be back with more right after this.
Get backed by Beryl Honda with an incredible deal. Lease a new 2002 Accord 4-door for just $199 a month. That's right, just $199 a month for a new Accord. Now through Monday only. Beryl Honda, the Tri-State's largest Honda dealer.
Shouldn't you get your own subscription to the Pittsburgh Tribune-Review? It's a heavyweight newspaper at a lightweight price. Now you can get 13 weeks of the Trib every day for just $9.99. So get a better read on Pittsburgh at a better price. The Trib, just $9.99. Dog not included.
Get backed by Beryl's guaranteed lowest price, or a $2,000 check is yours. Choose from over 30 all-new 2002 Camrys for just $16,999 with $2,000 cash or trade. Guaranteed lowest price in the Burg at Beryl Toyota in Cranberry.
Welcome back to Heinz Field, where early on Rochester trailing Fort Cherry by a 7-6 score. Fort Cherry recovered a fumble on the opening kickoff. It took them 2 plays to get into the end zone. Rochester rebounded nicely. A nice long 8-play drive got them into the end zone, but Javon Bradley's extra point was no good. So it's a 7-6 game here very early. Rochester kicks off now, and Ben Farrell will take it at his own 18-yard line. Has some running room, gets out over the 35, the 40, and out to about the 43-yard line before Eric Buford makes the tackle on special teams.
Yeah, I'd like to make one point here. When Rochester turned the ball over, you know, normal team would have just collapsed at that point. And Rochester is a veteran team coming back here. They've been tested over and over and over again. They didn't give up. They took the next drive, went down and scored. That's a sign of a very experienced, well-seasoned team.
Good field position here for Fort Cherry. Not as good as the first time, but 1st and 10 on their own 42-yard line. Martnick is their quarterback. We already talked about him playing defensive end. He's already thrown 1 touchdown pass. He's going to give it to Ben Farrell. Right side picks up maybe 2 yards before he's thrown back by Javon Bradley and Ryan Woods.
You know, I don't know about Ben Farrell, but I don't know how he feels about having that last name of Farrell after what happened to the other Farrell last week. He's their halfback here. Rochester held Farrell to 70 yards total offense last week, and they start off with Ben Farrell kind of the same way. A lot of gang tackling. You'll see that a lot from Rochester. What I'm interested to see is how much single coverage will Perry Ivory get from this Rochester secondary.
Ivory has the Fort Cherry touchdown on a pass reception. They're going to pitch this time to Farrell again. And again, he's going to be snowed under. Gets maybe to the 46-yard line, picking up a couple of yards. Tackle made by Van Norman and Javon Bradley. You talk about that game against Farrell last week. Rochester had the ball for 35.5 minutes. And remember, these are 12-minute quarters out of the 48 minutes of that ball game. And we just got a good idea on that 8-play touchdown drive how they can control the ball game by hanging on to the ball for long periods of time.
But, Guy, that is unheard of. When you told me that statistic today, I found it hard to believe.
3rd down and 5. Important play in the first quarter here for the Fort Cherry Rangers. Martinick wants to throw. He fires. Ooh, in and out of the hands. Almost caught by Perry Ivory. Tough grab. He had to jump for it. Nice pass, though. He's in double coverage. Antoine Horton in there to break things up for the Rochester Rams. It looks like Fort Cherry's going to have to kick it away.
They are going to kick it away. And like I said before, they're both defenses. They're playing against the same defenses that they practice against every day during the week. So they're 4-4 defenses. They have three in the secondary, 8 in the box, and they're just in the zone.
Ron Catrain will punt for Fort Cherry. Sam, you were impressed watching him kick the ball in warm-ups.
I was impressed. He was nailed in about 45, 50 yards.
Flag on the play.
This will be interesting here. Rochester came offside, but Fort Cherry was moving also. If it goes against Rochester, it could be a first down for Fort Cherry.
I think it's going to be just a little bit short.
But it makes for an interesting decision if it is. Officially, it's 4th and 5, but is it 5.5 or a real 5? They mark it off.
They're going to give it to him.
I think he got it.
First down. Oh, costly penalty for the Rams. They had stopped them. They going to measure?
I don't think they made up their mind.
He has it.
They don't need to measure. Let's go.
They're going to measure.
Officials are going to call a timeout.
Why don't they call up here? We can tell them that.
That's right. Hey, by the way, the winner of today's game will play Bishop Carroll. Bishop Carroll beat Sharpsville last night 24-13. That'll be next week, and then the winners of that game will go on to the state championship game in Hershey 2 weeks from this weekend. And as the sharp eyes up here in the Eagles' nest saw, that was the first down.
You know you're not talking about me, Guy. I don't have sharp eyes anymore.
There's a look at some of the Rochester players there. Little opportunity to get the football back. So Fort Cherry maintains possession. First down now on the Rochester 48-yard line as they move into Rams territory. 4:19 to go in the first quarter. I'm going to go with Farrell again. He loses a yard. Jim Sadler in on the stop. And you kind of wonder if, you know, Perry Ivory's had 2 balls thrown to him. He doesn't have a carry in the game yet. Maybe they're trying to change things up a little bit here, give him a different look.
Well, they're alternating who's going out on the flanker or the slot in their pro sets. The thing that I'd like you to remember, last year we talked about where to watch when you're looking at a football game. If you'll put your eyes 1 yard behind the quarterback's feet, you will be able to see all of the guards pulling and the direction of the flow of the backfield.
Out of the I formation, Martinick wants to throw. Rolls right, has good protection, elects to keep the ball, scampers for a yard or two, and steps out of bounds at about the 47-yard line. So the going's been tough, but a penalty on a 4th down punting situation against Rochester has kept the drive alive.
You know, we talk about the front and the linebackers of Rochester. They've done a great job, but I think what might be overlooked in this team, I think this defensive backfield might be the best defensive backfield possibly in Class A. Jermaine Moy, Antoine Horton, and Eric Buford, 3 good ones back there, Guy, and we'll see how much Perry Ivory does against them today.
Well, Martinick wanted to throw there. Great coverage, though, forced him in the running, and there wasn't much to pick up. 3rd down and 10.
Behind the back draw.
And it's Farrell, and he has some nice room. Isn't going to get enough for a first down. Gets to about the 40-yard line before Nate Waldron brings him down.
That was a really nice setup draw play. Martinick went behind the ball carrier and then put it back behind, and then he took off to the right side, and he's about a yard short, Mike.
Well, you go here, or what do you do here, Sam? You're the ex-coach. 4th and 2, and
it's early in the game, and they don't have to make any mistakes. I'd go ahead and punt this ball because if they don't make it, it's going to be extremely difficult field position.
They haven't been able to pick up much on the ground, but they are going to go for it. The pitch will come to the left side. They're not going to get it. Not going to get it. Josh Kemp had no room. Javon Bradley.
He's the monster. He plays the monster position on this team, and he was a scary monster on this play. Stapes had no chance to block him. Shot upfield, made the big play. We talked about him in the pregame. Offensively, people forget about him. Defensively, don't, because he showed you why there.
You're exactly right. He is really quick, and he's as hard as a rock.
Good field position for the Rams. Their second possession of the game. They start on their own 42-yard line. Pro set this time. Moore going to hand off right side. Bradley picks up about 2 to the 44. Trevor Martinick and Mike Harrington on the tackle for Fort Cherry.
This is going to be a very important defensive stand for Fort Cherry, because if they would have punted right there early in the game here, they could have had the ball down inside the 15 or the 10. Give Rochester great field position, 1 first down, and they're in 4-down territory now.
I guess when you have a defense as good as Fort Cherry's has played, Sam, you have enough confidence. They've only allowed 9 playoff points coming into today, so you gamble a little bit because you know those guys have been able to do a job for you. Pitch to the left side, Bradley. Oh, he's upended in the backfield. A beautiful tackle by Josh Kemp.
That was an extremely nice play, Mike.
Kemp came up from his secondary position, fought off a little bit of a block, made a great play there. He's the cousin of the former Green Bay Packer and former Fort Cherry player, Perry Kemp. His brother's in the back in the defensive secondary also.
Played wide receiver for the Packers for 3 or 4 years in the late 80s and early 90s. Moore's going to roll to the right. He wants to throw. He's being pressured. Now he's going to run. Still looking for somebody to throw to. Finds Moy, but it's off his shoulder pads. Incomplete. Coming up nicely and jostling the ball away was Josh Kemp and Terry Ivory back there too. Let's head down to the sidelines now. Bill Fontana.
This is Perry Kemp, and Perry, you have some ties to this Fort Cherry football team. Who are they?
One of them is Perry Ivory. He's my nephew, and I have 2 other nephews, Jeremy and Joshua Kemp.
And let me ask you a question. You started Cal University as a wide receiver, ended your pro career with the Green Bay Packers. You weren't that bad of a football player. Tell me what you've seen so far, and what does Fort Cherry have to do to win this game?
Well, they have just as much talent as the other team. I just think they need to mix things up a little bit more and show them different looks, and they should bring home a victory, no problem at all.
Good luck to your Fort Cherry Rangers. Gentlemen.
Thanks, Bill. Nice punt by Rochester's Danny Fike. No return. It rolls down to the 19-yard line where Fort Cherry will put it in play. So the Fort Cherry gamble pays off a little bit. They may lose a little bit of field position, but certainly not hurt badly by that. And Sam, in a game like this, Perry Kemp mentioning that, the talent probably fairly even here. Mistakes will kill you in a big game like this. Rochester, some of these kids have played in state championship games. They've won WPIAL titles. And we saw a mistake, though, by the Rochester team. The turnovers will kill you in a game like this, and that's the reason Fort Cherry has the early lead.
Guy, you saw the turnover. Mike and I were looking at each other. We didn't see the turnover until Fort Cherry got on top of the ball.
Hey, it's the new show that everybody's talking about, the best damn sports show, period. It's the new nightly show that features a comedian who's a diehard sports fan and a bunch of ex-jocks who really know the game. Critics are calling it a collision of sports and comedy, which is just what we've been waiting for. Introducing the best damn sports show, period. Watch it weeknights at 7:30 and 11:30, only on Fox Sports Net. Minute 18 to go here in the first quarter. Fort Cherry hanging on to a 7-6 lead. Rochester scored a touchdown on its first possession after Fort Cherry had gone up 7-0, recovering a fumble on the opening kickoff. Rochester missed their extra point, though, thus the 7-6 score.
We talked about that going for it on 4th down for Fort Cherry. Maybe that was a little question. I think you brought up a good point, though, guy. They have some confidence in their defense, too. They started the year with 2 losses. Since then, that first-team defense has only allowed 5 touchdowns this season.
Sam was talking about how close these two teams are, mirror images. Just look at the statistics. Exact same record. Points per game almost identical. Points allowed per game almost identical. And through almost the first quarter here, 7-6 score. That's holding up.
And the ironical thing about this whole thing, guy, is these are two very young football teams, and we'll get to that a little bit later.
All right, let's see what Fort Cherry can do now. They moved the ball, picked up a couple of first downs last time before their drive stalled, from deeper in their own territory this time. Kemp off the right side, a lot of running room. He gets out over the 30 to about the 31-yard line. That's good enough for about 12, 13 yards and a first down. Jim Sadler with a tackle for Rochester.
That was Perry Ivory. You see him this time. He lined up in the backfield. We talked about him. He'll go anywhere on this offense. There he gets the ball for the first time as a running back and picks up a first down.
And it was just a power sweep to the right, Mike.
He led Class A in receiving this year. In fact, last year, the junior was 16th in all the WPIAL in receiving. Had 4 touchdown catches in a game against Cornell last year. Mike said he can do it all. Going to stay on the ground this time, try the left side. Ben Farrell. He sees a lot of white jerseys there, and that's bad news. Jermaine Moy led the attack for Rochester, but he wasn't the only one. They weren't fooled the least little bit on that play.
There was only 8 other people right beside him.
There's another look at it here. Farrell is a junior. He'll be back for Fort Cherry next year. He had a 224-yard game against Avonworth earlier in the year. That's impressive enough, especially when you consider he only had 9 carries in that game. But he had no room there. In fact, he loses 5 yards, and it's going to be 2nd and 15 now on the 26-yard line for Fort Cherry. Martinick wants to throw. Nice spiral downfield deep, and a great diving catch at the 40-yard line. A beautiful catch by Fort Cherry's Josh Kemp.
That was just a beautiful throw by Trevor Martinek. And he just made a spectacular catch also.
Single receiver set. Josh Kemp, the only receiver, beats his man from the outside. Not only a great throw, but a great catch. Both guys deserve a lot of credit on this one.
Beautiful. Big play right there.
33-yard pickup on a 2nd and 15. And that's the end of the first quarter with the score. The Fort Cherry Rangers 7, the Rochester Rams 6. We'll be back with quarter number 2 right after these messages.
Hi. Got some spare change? Then get to McDonald's, because cheeseburgers are only 49 cents every Monday and Thursday. And every Sunday, 20-piece chicken McNuggets are just $2.99. 49-cent cheeseburgers and $2.99 20-piece chicken McNuggets, only at McDonald's.
For anyone who's ever aspired to greatness, here's your chance. Reach young minds. Make a difference. And be part of a winning team. Summit Academy, where pride still matters. Call now about our employment opportunities.
Zip, zilch, 0% financing. Area Suzuki dealers have 0% financing on 2002 Suzukis, Vitaras, Grand Vitaras, XL7s, and Esteems, all with 0% financing. Lease a 2002 four-wheel drive XL7 for only $279.95 per month for 39 months. Now is the best time ever to visit Pittsburgh area Suzuki dealers, but you gotta hurry. 0% financing ends soon.
Come on. Great move. Shoot it, Lemieux. He scores. Yeah!
Fort Cherry leading Rochester 7-6. We're ready to start the second quarter. There's a shot of the Fort Cherry sideline. There you have your Rochester sideline. And the football, as we switch sides of the field now, on the 41-yard line of the Rams after that 33-yard reception by Josh Kemp of Fort Cherry.
You have 3 receivers to the left, and they're just doing a little bit of power off up the middle here.
Farrell gets nothing. Nate Waldron makes the stop along with Jim Sadler. Let's take a look at some of the statistics from our first quarter of play. First downs, even. Rushing. Fort Cherry's having trouble running the ball, but their passing yardage is more than made up for it. The turnover, the killer, it led to the Fort Cherry touchdown. Time of possession, Rochester doing it again, just like they did in their game last week that got them here. And the one penalty for Rochester could have hurt them. It kept the drive going on a fourth down punting situation, but they held anyway and still got the football. 2nd and 10.
Pro slot left.
Bartlett hits Ivory. He's got some room. Scampers to the 30. Dances around one guy. Gets down to the 20-yard line. Stopped by Jermaine Moy. You know, I think one thing, neither of these teams throw a lot, but from what I've seen on tape and what I've seen so far here today, both quarterbacks throw the ball well. It's not that the quarterbacks aren't any good, they just don't throw a lot, but he throws a nice spiral.
He threw a nice pass there. What happened was Perry Ivory lined up in the slot and got a linebacker on him, which made things a lot easier for him. Nick Manarino had the coverage on him, and Perry Ivory's going to beat a linebacker on a pass pattern a lot of times, as you see there. Manarino, they get that matchup a lot of times for Cherry. They'll do some damage.
So 2 passing plays in a row have brought big yardage for Fort Cherry in this drive. They still haven't shown they can run the ball consistently, and that continues here. As this time Ivory tries to do it on the ground, but he runs into Rob Savanda and Jim Sadler. Boy, Jim Sadler's having a heck of a game here. He's been in on just about every tackle for Rochester.
That one formation that you just saw right there with a split end to the right and a power eye to the same side, I think their best success is going to be running right at Rochester rather than try to run around their speed.
Going to line up in that power eye again right this time. Farrell, Harrington, and Ivory in the backfield. Ivory, the last guy in the setup, and he gets the call. Left side picks up maybe 2 yards to about the 18-yard line.
You know, Sam said it there. It's a little tough to run wide against Rochester, and we saw why there. Perry Ivory in the backfield that time. I think, see, I'm looking for that formation or the plays to get Perry Ivory on a linebacker. We'll see if Rochester tries to shore that up.
You know what, Sam? They always say dance with what brought you, but when you get to games like this, you can get through the regular season sometimes beating people just on your athleticism. You have to adjust in a championship game when you get the teams that are as good as you athletically.
You absolutely do, and Trevor Martinchek is going to be the difference in this game with his arm.
But this time he doesn't get a chance to use it because he's sacked by Javon Bradley back at the 32-yard line.
If he doesn't hurt you on offense, he'll do it on defense. The monster man, Javon Bradley.
He's playing like a monster today.
The first sack of the game ruins a pretty good drive for Fort Cherry. Brings up a 4th and 18. They place the ball on the 28-yard line. Another look at it this time. He wanted to throw that ball, but good coverage downfield once again. Mike talked earlier about the good secondary Rochester has, and a couple of times now, Martinek's thrown a nice ball, but a couple of times he's had to eat it because he has had nobody open downfield.
Yeah, that was a coverage sack, and I like him better when he sets his feet, Mike, and throws the ball rather than trying to do it on the roll.
Going to throw out of the I formation, 4-down territory now. Nice spiral, deep downfield at the goal line. Batted away by Jermaine Moy, incomplete. The Rams take over on down.
Well, hey, they had to throw one up somewhere, and they went to their bread and butter guy, Perry Ivory, 2 deep secondary. Good coverage there, though. Good coverage by Antoine Horton, and then he gets a little help from the backside by Eric Buford.
What I liked about that, Mike, was that they knocked the ball down. I think he could have went for the interception, but he knocked it down
smart enough to know he would have better field position by knocking it away. It's a well-coached kid. That's right. But, Mike, you're right. Moy came over to knock it away, but it was really the coverage by Horton that made that possible. 1st and 10 on the 28-yard line for Rochester now. Waldron in motion, handoff left side, and there's some running room for Bradley. He gets out to the 37, 38-yard line before he's stopped by Trevor Martinek.
And once again, notice what happens. The best way to defeat speed is to go right at it. You're not going to try to run around it because they all have the angles on it. Mike, you said the Rochester secondary is the best secondary in AA. I don't know whether they're the best. I haven't seen them all, but I know they're the fastest.
They always have speed down there in Rochester.
They do.
Full house backfield. The Rams like to use this. Moy takes it right side out over the 40 to about the 42-yard line. stop by Tom Weaverly.
Guy, here comes your eating the time clock up here. They're just going to go 3-4 yards at a time, 3-4 yards at a time, and one of them's going to break a big one.
Picked up first down yardage, 2 consecutive plays. Now have a little bit of breathing room on their own 41-yard line. There's Adam Moore, the quarterback for Rochester. 7 touchdown passes on the year, 3 interceptions. Moy comes in motion to the right side. The pitch goes to Waldron, and Mike Harrington is there to knock him down at the 40-yard line for a 1 or 2-yard loss.
Mike Harrington, one of the best players on the Fort Cherry's defense, one of those middle linebackers. He and Dave Hirsch are a nice 1-2 tandem at the linebacker spot. You see why there. Mike Harrington, one of the leading tacklers on this team, makes the hit and then holds on for a little help.
Once again, they're trying to go outside, and that speed kills.
138 tackles for Harrington this year. 2nd down and a long 10, almost 11. Moore wants to throw. Had the open man for a brief second there in Eric Buford, but the pass was thrown too far in front of Buford, incomplete. It'll be 3rd and 10.
I've been, just like you said, Mike, I've been really impressed with both of these quarterbacks' ability to throw the football. I guess what happens is when you get a mindset that you're going out there and because you have the running game and the offensive line to run the football, you don't rely on the quarterback, so they don't need to.
Especially when he's playing defensive end, you know.
So bruised up, he can't lift his arm.
All right, it's going to be 3rd and 10. Moore's going to roll. He's going to fire deep downfield, intended for Moy, and Moy almost had it at the 25-yard line. Coming over with great coverage late was Josh Kemp. For a second, Moy was open, but Kemp with good closing speed got in there to break it up.
You know, we talked about Rochester's secondary, but hey, how about Fort Cherry's? There are 2 Kemps and also Perry Ivory back there. Hey, I may have spoke a little too soon. This secondary at Fort Cherry's very good also. They have speed, and I think they like to hit. Good athletes back there.
Mike, I got an idea. How about at halftime, we get the stopwatch out. We'll measure off 40 yards and get some times going.
Only if you run it.
Excellent camera work by our guys for that view there, that fast break up. Moy's going to punt for Rochester, angles it out of bounds at about the 30-yard line. So, Fort Cherry back in business. They lead by 1 here in the 2nd quarter from Heinz Field. Back with more Class A action after this.
Hurry in for Backed by Barrel savings at Barrel Chevrolet. Lease a 2002 Blazer 4x4 for only $299 a month. Get 0% financing and save over $4,500 in finance charges. Plus, pay nothing until 2002. Get Backed by Barrel Chevrolet.
Hey everyone, this is Rob Pratt and welcome to my world, the world of my good friend George Leon at West Penn Billiards and their brand new location, Route 19 South in Cannonsburg, the #1 pool table dealer in the nation. West Penn Billiards, the only dealer for the top 5 brands of pool tables at all the top manufacturers on bars and stools and related game room equipment. Family owned and operated for 40 years. Stop by any of their 3 locations in the North Hills, Murraysville, and the new store, Route 19 South, Cannonsburg. Get the best price and service. It's guaranteed. West Penn Billiards.
Get Backed by Barrel with the Mitsubishi 000 deal. 0 interest, 0 down, 0 payments till 2003 on over 150 Barrel Mitsubishis, including the all-new Lancer. Get Backed by Barrel Mitsubishi.
Okay, welcome back to Heinz Field. Perry Ivory, one of the stars of this game so far today, caught a touchdown pass on the 2nd play of the day for Fort Cherry. He's run the ball, caught passes. Mike, any idea where Toledo and Ohio both have offered him scholarships, and I guess West Virginia, Virginia Tech are sniffing around a little bit too.
Well, I think he's a good player for the Mid-American Conference type level, the mid-major type level. He's not the biggest kid around. You know, the colleges like that if you're going to be a defensive back or a receiver. I think he'll probably end up as a defensive back, maybe possibly a receiver in college, but I think he could be a very, very good player in the MAC.
Steeler President Dan Rooney attending here today, and it's a beautiful day. He was worried about if there was going to be rain, and 4 high school games played on this field here. Steelers, of course, are out of town against Tennessee tomorrow.
He just wanted North Catholic to beat.
I know he did.
Jeremy Kemp right there, guy. Fort Cherry has a problem. He's their free safety. He's got a shoulder injury. He can't even lift his arm above his head right now.
See how that plays out, but right now Fort Cherry on offense. Ivory carries right side. Didn't have any room there at first, but was patient, read his blocks, and picked up a couple of yards.
Right, he's just going power off tackle right with 2 lead blockers, and he has a good instinct, and he saw the hole open to the inside, and just turned it up for about 3.5, 4 yards, guys.
It'll be 2nd down and 6, ball on the 35-yard line. Things have settled down a little bit after a wild beginning. Both teams scoring both the first time they had the ball. Well, Rochester didn't score the first time they had the ball. That was on the kickoff that they fumbled, which turned into a Fort Cherry touchdown 2 plays later. Then the Rams came back, but they trailed 7-6 because of a missed extra point. Full house backfield. Martinek hands it off left side to Kent. That's Josh Kent. He gets maybe a yard. Jim Sadler once again. Boy, Sadler at the linebacker position, number 66, the Mario Lemieux of the Rochester Rams. Had an excellent first half so far.
Hand up and trying to run wide. Again, Rochester with the good defensive play. I really think right now, guys, Fort Cherry is going to win this football game. They're going to have to get Perry Ivory the ball out in the flats, downfield more. I don't think they're going to be able to move the football very, very well against Rochester with running straight ahead. Perry Ivory is going to be the difference in this game.
3rd and 5. Ben Farrell gets the call right side, and he gets the first down. Flag on the play, gets out to maybe the 46-yard line. That could be a hold where the flag was thrown. We'll wait for the call.
That was a very nice, well-conceived play there. It was like a sprint draw effect right off to the slot side. Did pick up the first down, and now there's the penalty. He's going to make a decision.
Coming back.
Fort Cherry's coming back.
Holding.
It is a hold against Fort Cherry.
10-yard penalty.
Second penalty of the game against the Rangers. First one gave Rochester a... Well, that's the first penalty of the game against Fort Cherry. Rochester had one earlier.
It's really the first time that they've moved the football more than a few yards with a running play. Maybe we know why.
Yeah, that's right. There's a shot at Jim Gary. 43 years. That high school was formed in 1959. That was his first year as head coach. He's been the only head coach that they have had. Has 3 sons. 2 of them are assistant coaches for him now. So they face a 3rd down and 11, and we have whistles again.
Yeah, people that commit murder don't get sentences like that. I mean, they get parole before they put 43 years in.
43 years. I know he was saying that he doesn't think a lot of people are going to put those kind of years in anymore. I mean, the parental pressure's too much, the time factor, and even when you first started coaching, Sam, I mean, the time you put in with film now, and it just gets crazier and crazier. Even at the high school level, you have off-season conditioning programs. Hey, television's most unique brand of football commentary airs Sunday with NFL This Morning here on Fox Sports Net. This season, football funny man Jay Moore and the rest of his NFL morning crew will welcome Boomer Esiason to the show that critics call the most unique, groundbreaking, off-the-wall 2 hours of football news. NFL This Morning. It's the pregame show that's not really a pregame show. Tomorrow at 10 Eastern Time right here on Fox Sports Net. And there's a shot of Gene Matzuk. He is a phys ed teacher at Freedom Middle School. The head coach of Rochester. Last year he took over for his brother Dan. And in his first season won the WPIAL title and went on to win the state title over Southern Columbia as well. Holiday atmosphere here at Heinz Field. 3rd down and 11 now. Fort Cherry backed up in their own territory at their own 30-yard line. After the holding penalty when they apparently had picked up the first down. Farrell's going to throw. He throws it way up in the air for grabs, and it's intercepted. Picked off by Eric Buford. That ball looked like a punt more than a pass.
I was just going to say, with 4:40 left to go in the second quarter, I wouldn't do anything that would be something that would be a turnover or something crazy. There was nobody open. He threw it right in the hands of the 3 Rochester people.
There were 3 guys that could have picked it.
Yes, there was.
He just threw that one up. I think he just...
He saw Ivory downfield there, but didn't have the arm to reach him. He was beyond those 3 defensive backs. You barely see Ivory in the picture. You can see a shadow about the 40-yard line right there. So good field position for Rochester. See what they can do with it. Right side, Bradley darts back to the middle. Nice little cut. Gets inside the 40 to the 39. Stopped by Steve Blanchard. Blanchard only a freshman.
They're just taking advantage of the big offensive right side of Rochester's line with fullback lead, and picked up about 5 yards there.
You know, you mentioned Blanchard, a freshman guy. What's impressive about this Fort Cherry team and their defense, they have 8 non-seniors starting on defense, so they have to be a team to look at next year without a doubt.
Mike, and Rochester's the same way.
Moy in motion. Handoff is going to go to
Nate Waldron,
the left side. Waldron, and he's got all kinds of daylight. Touchdown, Rochester. One arm on him, and that is it. Terrific blocking off the left side, and the Rams take the lead for the first time in the ball game, 12-7.
And here it comes now, and this is their game plan. They're going to pound the ball, and with the speed that they have and his strength, they're going to break one, and there it goes, right down the left side.
Ryan Woods, the left guard, terrific block for Rochester. Helps bring him number 58 if we can catch him right here. Boom. Helped open up that hole, and really only one arm touching Waldron, and he takes off. I told you, Sam, that Waldron doesn't get a whole lot of publicity in terms of all these other skilled people that Rochester has, but in last week's game, he touched the ball a lot.
Well, what happens is that because of Javon being in the backfield, you know, they're going to give him the ball, and Moy's going to get the ball. Everybody's keying on them, and then Waldron just comes back, and
Moore runs it off the right side, has nice blocking, gets it in, so they make up for the missed extra point, convert on the 2-point conversion, and it's 14-7 now. The Rochester Rams on top of Fort Cherry.
That's Adam. That's Adam Moore.
Adam Moore running the option play there with the keeper. Big 2-point conversion now puts it back to a 7-point game, guy. And you talked about Nate Waldron there. You know, rightly so. We so much is mentioned about Javon Bradley and Jermaine Moy. Bradley averages 7 yards a carry. Jermaine Moy 6 yards a carry. But how about Nate Waldron? 410 yards on the year, and he averages 6.5 yards a carry himself. So really, they have 3 running backs that can do some damage. And you know what?
And Nate's only a sophomore, so.
Yes. He had 2 sacks in the state championship game last year as a freshman. And I'll tell you, Rochester always has running backs. They always do.
Well, how do you lose a guy like Kirby Griffin, who was the leading scorer in Class A last year? They just, you know,
nothing
cliche, they just reload. They don't rebuild.
Nothing stops. Nothing changes but the day.
That's that river water they drink down there.
Well, Beaver County well represented here once again today. 3 of the 4 finals has a Beaver County team in it. There's your river water.
See?
There it is, right there.
A little cleaner down in Beaver County than it is here, I think. All right, we got 3:56, just under 4 minutes to go here in the first half. Rochester now, a costly turnover. So Rochester pays Fort Cherry back. The Fort Cherry touchdown coming after a fumble on the opening kickoff. Now Rochester getting the go-ahead touchdown after a Fort Cherry interception on the halfback option pass, picked off, thrown by Ben Farrell. Here's the kick. Back deep to take it for Fort Cherry is Perry Ivory at his own 8-yard line. 15, 20, 25. A little bit of room, 30. Brought down at the 32-yard line. Making the tackle is Javon Bradley.
Any special teams, when they want to start the game, if they can get the ball out to the 35-yard line, that is a very good field position, and they're only 3 yards short. So this is going to be a very interesting 3:51 left in the second quarter.
I think Fort Cherry has to be happy if they go into halftime down 14-7 because they really haven't done much at all here in the first half, guys.
See if they can do something here in the final stages of the half. I formation. Martinick gonna throw. Pass almost intercepted. Nice play. Diving to knock it down was Nick Manarino, the junior linebacker. Here's what Fort Cherry's offense is facing here. A very good defense in Rochester. They've been good throughout the playoffs. There's the play by Manarino.
And I think what's happening, guys, when they go into their spread offense with the wideouts, Rochester's going to a 6-1. They only have 6 down linemen, 1 linebacker, and they're moving the linebacker outside.
You can see what they've done to teams in the playoffs. Those teams are all averaging at least 4 touchdowns a game, but yet the Rams defense has just shut them down. Martinick wants to throw. He loses the football. It's loose at the 25-yard line. Rams say it's their ball. No official signal yet. Yes, it is. Rochester's football. Back-to-back possessions. Fort Cherry has turned it over. Rob Savanda, number 75, the defensive tackle, comes up with the football for Rochester. Fort Cherry's in some trouble now. Shaking it loose. I've called his name the whole half. Jim Sadler. Rob Savanda jumps on it.
Very critical point in the game right here. Fort Cherry cannot afford to go in down 14 points at halftime.
Especially with the trouble that they've had running the football. It's at the 24. Terrific field position. Down to the 21-yard line is Waldron. David Hirsch with the tackle along with Tom Weaverling for Fort Cherry.
Little power off tackle left, and they're going to do what they do best. They're going to grind it out 2, 3, 4 yards and hope one of those big backs can crack a wide and open.
Boy, that is exactly what Fort Cherry had to say they couldn't have happened. Turn the football over. If they could have got one first down, they may have been able to run out the clock. Now their backs are to the wall.
That interception hurt them.
Roy's going to throw, wants to throw back. It looks like the Moore decides not to, and probably made a good decision there. Fort Cherry did a good job covering Moore as he came away from the handoff. He gets back to the 25-yard line. Good defense by Martinek.
Watch, here's Adam Moore going out to the flat for the throwback, but number 24 for Fort Cherry, Matt Schiff, sniffed out the play, had good coverage on Moore, and you said it. Jermaine Moore did the smart thing there, tucked it under because Moore was not open.
Good decision-making all around for this Rochester team. You can tell that Gene Matsuk has really coached them well.
Very, very well coached. Great decision by Moy not to throw the ball.
In motion is Moy. Moore hands off to Bradley. Gets to about the 23. Fort Cherry hanging tough there. 4th down now and 8.
And it seems like Rochester has more confidence in running the ball to the left than they do to the right. Most of their plays that I've noticed have been to the left side.
One thing about A-ball, you don't have the kickers that you do in quad A. You're not going to, field goal wise, you know, it's almost never going to happen in most of these A games unless it's really close. So they're going to go for it on 4th. There's no sense punting. Moore rolls to the left, wants to throw. He's pressured, doesn't have any time. Sacked back at the 29-yard line. And how about number 57 at Heinz Field making a big play? David Hirsch.
You're trying to come up with all kind of little gimmicks here.
That's a great defensive stand by Fort Cherry to keep them in the ball game.
David Hirsch with a good rush on here. Hey, how about this kid, though? Everybody, almost everyone on our team has their name on their backs for Fort Cherry's defense. David Hirsch doesn't. He says, what about me?
The no-name defense. So now, if you're Fort Cherry, you got a minute and a half to go. You're just going to kind of regroup here, or do you want to try to move the ball?
I would do absolutely nothing that's going to put me in a jeopardized situation where I'm going in any less than what I have right now.
Farrell, left side, nothing, loses yardage, and it looks like they're thinking the same way Sam LaFaza was here. Van Norman on the stop along with Rob Savanda. Savanda had recovered that fumble to give Rochester a excellent opportunity to pull ahead by 2 scores, but they were unable to do it.
Well, once again, you know, 14-7, they go in at halftime, talk everything over, get all their adjustments taken care of, find out what they're going to do rather than to go through some gimmick kind of play where they're going to jeopardize the score here.
Martinek rolls left, wants to throw the ball, has time. There's a toss, and the ball is incomplete. Off of Ivory's hands, incomplete at 39.
Nice effort by Perry Ivory trying to pull it in with the one hand. Rochester laying back a little on defense now. Here's Perry Ivory. Martinek rolling to his left. We'll see. Ivory trying to pull it in with the one hand. Just couldn't hang on to it. You know, you talk about
he was open.
Yeah, he was. Fort Cherry's defense being young. Hey, and Sam said it. Rochester's defense, of the 8 linemen and linebackers, 6 of them are either sophomores or juniors. So this team, hey, maybe both of these teams, at least defensively, chance could see him back here next year.
Well, Mike, I'm just looking down at the sheet here. Offensively, Fort Cherry only has 4 seniors, and Rochester has 4 seniors. On defense, Fort Cherry only has 3 seniors, and Rochester has 5 seniors. So both of these teams are fairly young guys.
Fort Cherry's called a timeout. They face a 3rd and 9, ball on their own 28. Would love to convert, not give the ball back to Rochester with any time left, a little under a minute. I want to remind you that this copyright telecast is presented to you by Fox Sports Net under the authority of the WPIAL, and it may not be reproduced, rebroadcast, re-recorded, or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of the WPIAL. Though we know Mike White is taping it at home, and at his Christmas party this year, he's going to make all his relatives watch himself on television. But that's okay. You just can't charge admission to your party, Mike.
How did you know that?
I can tell.
Did my wife tell you that?
Total yards pretty even right now. The score is not, though. Rochester with 112, Fort Cherry with 104. Fort Cherry yardage actually surprised me. Rochester did have the one long drive. Each team has a touchdown on the shortened field following a turnover. 3rd and 9 at the 28.
Spreading them out with split backs.
Martinick's going to throw the ball. Oh, look at that. Little hook and go.
Lateral.
Yeah.
Lateral here. Little timing problem, though.
Yep. Kemp and Farrell were the guys that tried to pull it off, but it didn't work. You're going to have to punt now.
Yeah, and they tried to run that hook and lateral to the short side of the field. I mean, they didn't have much room. If they had done it to the wide side of the field, they might have a bit more space to get the timing involved in that.
Out to the 30-yard line.
Let's take a look at some of the Rochester defense here, some of the plays they've made in this game. Only 200, a little over 200 total yards of offense so far. And Ben Farrell got a lot of the calls early in the game. Javon Bradley with the hit there. Nice defensive play there, knocking the pass away by Nick Manarino. There's the fumble. Sandler caused it. Recovered by Rob Savanda. They weren't able to turn that into any points, but you got to be impressed with this defense so far for Rochester.
You really have to be impressed with them. And what I like about them, they're not real big people, but they're real stocky people, and they're very quick.
You know, Guy, not only this game, this defense has not given up a point in the playoffs. The only 2 touchdowns that's been scored against Rochester in the playoffs was a 75-yard kickoff return by Monessen and a 93-yard return of a blocked field goal last week by Farrell. So they've thrown zeros up on the scoreboard up until this week.
And even that touchdown was with a short field following the fumble on the opening kickoff. So driving the distance against them is going to be a very difficult thing, and why it was so key for Fort Cherry defensively to prevent them from getting ahead by 2 touchdowns in the last couple of minutes of the half.
Really surprised they're not coming after this.
Ron Catrain punts. Moy takes it at his 42. Gets to the 45. Scampers around the right side. Still dancing out there. Gets almost to midfield, to about the 49-yard line as the clock stops at 14 seconds left in the half. Justin Stafella on the special teams tackle for the Rangers.
Well, once again, speed kills. I know I keep saying that every year. This is a perfect example of it. They had 8 people on that ball that time.
Rochester does have 1 timeout left. Maybe enough time to throw a pass, call the timeout, and maybe try and throw one near the end zone.
Looks like they're going with a Big Ben here.
Twins to the left, I formation. They're going to give it to Bradley. And he has some room, gets all the way down to the 39-yard line, enough to pick up a first down. 6 seconds, 5. They'll stop it at 5. David Hirsch with the tackle. Fort Cherry will give that up, though. They just want to keep them out of the end zone.
I don't know whether, Mike, I would give that up or not, because they're capable of breaking one. Anytime they get their hands on the ball, when you're playing back deep like that, they're capable of breaking one.
Yeah, you don't want to get Bradley out there in the open field, even if you're trying a little prevent.
Not with those 156-pound D-backs that Fort Cherry has.
Rochester's going to talk it over, try to figure out what they're doing. Let's mention some of the Rochester coaching staff here. Ryan Matzo, Gene's nephew, is the offensive coordinator. Dan Roberts, who came with Gene along with Dan in 1986 to the program and helped build it into the program that it is today, is the defensive coordinator. Tight ends and outside linebacker coaches, that's Tony Ziegler. The offensive line and inside linebacker coach is Bob Badaki. Running backs and defensive backs, Brian Burton. He's the guy responsible for all this speed with those guys. Steve Levette is the special teams coach for Rochester. See what they have up their sleeve with 5 seconds to go, probably the final play of the half. Do you throw it to the end zone, or you try to spring somebody on that draw again?
Well, the thing is with Adam Moore, though, I don't think with a little bit of a rush, I think he's going to have trouble getting the ball to the end zone. That's why I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe just a 20-yard pass or something, or, hey, watch out for the draw.
Well, I think they got the trips out here, even a medium length pass, and then have somebody break it.
Hail Mary deep, he reached the end zone, batted around down there, incomplete, but that was awfully scary.
He got it to Mike. He got it to the 1.
How much do we know?
He got it to the 1.
How much do we know? That kid has a nice strong arm there.
Antoine Horton down there almost came up with that for a touchdown. Josh Kemp was in it. That reminded you of the Colts and the Steelers in the final play of the AFC Championship game. Oh, almost caught there off the tip. Number 5 is Antoine Horton. He almost grabbed that ball.
And the sad part about it is that the receivers were going down there, didn't think that he could get it in the end zone because they stopped on the 5. Because if they would have went into the end zone, he might have had it.
All right, we're heading into halftime. Rochester leading Fort Cherry 14-7. Let's go down on the field now to Bill Fontana. Billy?
Thank you very much, Guy. This is Gene Matzuk, and Gene, a long ways from Shenango High School when you were a quarterback, but a heck of a football game so far.
Oh, no doubt about it. That's what we expected coming in, and Fort Cherry's giving us everything we can handle right now. You know, we turned the ball over on the kickoff and getting short in the field on them, and, you know, we got to just keep playing in the second half. We're doing a good job.
Gene, what about the touchdown with Waldron going from 38 yards out? I know you have 2 1,000-yard rushing backs, and do you think maybe they were keying on them?
Well, they're starting to key on Bradley a little bit more, so we're going to go back to Waldron a little bit more. And if you key on one, we're going to try to hit you with somebody else. So we're making the adjustments. We'll make a couple more in the second half, and hopefully come out and do what we got to do.
Final question. How about the thrill for you and the kids at Heinz Field?
Oh, great moment. This is just a great atmosphere and a great venue, and we're loving every minute of it.
Congratulations.
Thanks, Billy.
Go get them.
Thanks.
We're going to take a break. We have more high school football. This is the first of 4. We'll be back with more after this break on Fox Sports Net.
Hi, my name is Joe Androstic, sales manager at Sandal Motors, Route 30 East in Greensburg. For years, we've been telling you if you buy a Buick or Oldsmobile someplace else, you'll pay more money. Well, the same holds true as it has in the past. We sell Buicks and Oldsmobiles at the lowest bottom line prices you'll find anywhere. So there's no reason to wait for year-end clearance sales, factory promotions. Your best deal, excellent customer service can only be found right here at Sandal Motors. So remember, if you buy a Buick or Oldsmobile someplace else, you'll pay more money.
Together hospitals just to get big. We don't have our own health plan just to be in the insurance business. We don't invest in doctors and technology or follow the U.S. News rankings of best hospitals just to pat ourselves on the back. We do it so the people of Western Pennsylvania get the finest care in the country. Right here. At UPMC, we don't have one good reason for why we do what we do. We have 4,000,001.
Kickers, you got to keep them in their place, Warren. Timmy, go bye-bye.
Fox NFL Sunday, this week, noon Eastern, 9 Pacific.
Back at Heinz Field, the Rochester Band entertaining at halftime. I want to remind you the WPIAL Football Championships on Fox Sports Net are brought to you by the Pittsburgh Tribune-Review. Get a better read on sports. 14-7. Rochester leading Fort Cherry at halftime. Back with more right after this.
We're at halftime at Heinz Field on a beautiful Saturday afternoon for high school football, and this is the first of 4 championship games. As we look on the field now, let's pick up some of the activity of the Rochester High School Marching Band. They march 68 strong, and they're directed by John Pinella. Let's go hear the Rochi Ram Band right now.
Our second number this afternoon features our drill team with Never Mind Us.
I think that each one is about 12 minutes, 10 to 12 minutes. You're listening to the music supplied by the Rochester High School Marching Ram Band. It's halftime for Game 1 at the Class A Championships from Heinz Field in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where Rochester leads Fort Cherry 14-7. We'll be back with
Shouldn't you get your own subscription to the Pittsburgh Tribune Review? It's a heavyweight newspaper at a lightweight price. Now you can get 13 weeks of the Trib every day for just $9.99. So get a better read on Pittsburgh at a better price. The Trib, just $9.99. Dog not included.
Got some spare change? Then get to McDonald's, because cheeseburgers are only 49 cents every Monday and Thursday. And every Sunday, 20-piece chicken McNuggets are just $2.99. 49-cent cheeseburgers and $2.99 20-piece chicken McNuggets, only at McDonald's.
Running here, running there, I got no time to shop, I got no time to spare. Gotta pick up some milk, send it back and get some gas. Gonna grab a bite to eat, gotta do it fast. But there's only one place to go. Get it on at Togo. Oh, for you at Togo. Get what you want, when you want, where you want it. Togo.
For anyone who's ever aspired to greatness, here's your chance. Reach young minds. Make a difference. And be part of a winning team. Summit Academy, where pride still matters. Call now about our employment opportunities.
Heinz Field, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the Class A Championship game going on right now, and it's halftime where the Rochester Rams lead the Rangers of Fort Cherry 14-7. We're going to go back on the field now and listen to some fine music supplied by the Fort Cherry Ranger Band. The director is Matt Nelson, and they march 55 strong. Let's give a listen. Watch and listen. It is the sound of the Fort Cherry High School Marching Band. Quite a performance they put on here this halftime. We're coming back with more high school football. 3 games are left. Don't go away. This is championship coverage on Fox Sports Net.
Hey everyone, this is Rob Pratt and welcome to my world, the world of my good friend George Leon at West Penn Billiards and their brand new location, Route 19 South in Cannonsburg, the #1 pool table dealer in the nation. West Penn Billiards, the only dealer for the top 5 brands of pool tables at all the top manufacturers on bars and stools and related game room equipment. Family owned and operated for 40 years. Stop by any of their 3 locations in the North Hills, Murraysville, and the new store, Route 19 South, Cannonsburg. Get the best price and service. It's guaranteed. West Penn Billiards.
Want to make this a Thanksgiving to remember? You'll need food.
Don't do that again.
Games. Friends. And surprises.
We'll handle this.
It's the bash everyone will want to crash. Never before seen on television. Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Fox Sunday.
Pittsburgh Sports Tonight. Your teams, your town, your show. Pittsburgh Sports Tonight, nightly at 10.
It's the gift of a grandchild's laugh. It's the gift of a sister's advice. It's the holiday gift they'll really love. Time together. Thanks to Verizon Wireless.
Now get 3,500 total monthly minutes for just $35 monthly access on select digital plans, so you can call anyone, anywhere in the U.S. and talk all you want with nationwide long distance included. And get a free Motorola phone with activation after mail-in rebate.
So give your loved ones the gift they really want. You. Verizon Wireless. Join in.
Zip, zilch, 0% financing. Area Suzuki dealers have 0% financing on 2002 Suzukis. Vitaras, Grand Vitaras, XL7s, and Esteems, all with 0% financing. Lease a 2002 4-wheel drive XL7 for only $279.95 per month for 39 months. Now is the best time ever to visit Pittsburgh area Suzuki dealers, but you gotta hurry. 0% financing ends soon.
Back at Heinz Field, Rochester leading 14-7 at halftime, and probably glad they are because they fumbled away the opening kickoff, and it took just 2 plays for Trevor Martinick to hit Perry Ivory for a touchdown, a 28-yarder, 7-0 Fort Cherry. Rochester comes right back, a 10-play, 58-yard drive that took more than 5 minutes. They missed the extra point. They still trailed 7-6 in the second quarter after an Eric Buford interception. Nate Waldron, 39 yards. This was a 44-yard drive. It took just 2 plays. That made it 14-7 because they also got the 2-point conversion when Adam Moore ran it in. And that's your score, 14-7, Rochester at the half. Mike White, stats are fairly even.
They are fairly even, but here's what you have to think of, guys. Fort Cherry has 92 yards offense. 60 of those yards came on 2 plays, 2 pass plays, 2 long pass plays. They need to do something more offensively in the second half, and more specifically, get Perry Ivory the ball in some big play situations.
All right, Sam LaFazzo, what are you looking for here in the second half? Fort Cherry has not shown they're able to run the ball, even though the statistics are very even.
Yes, you're exactly right, Guy. And what I think is happening right now is that the experience is coming out on Rochester. They're continually doing exactly what brought them here. And I think what's happening and what I saw in the second quarter is that the offensive line of Rochester is starting to dominate the defensive line of Fort Cherry.
Okay, this is just the first of 4 games we're going to bring you today here on Fox Sports Net. Right up through the Granddaddy. The Quad A game tonight at 7:30 kickoff time. Beaver Falls in Washington is next. The Class AA Championship. Rob King will have that game with you along with Kevin Gorman of the Tribune Review. Hopewell and West Allegheny. Stan Savern and Don Yanessa will call the AAA Championship game for you. Kickoff in that one is at 4:30. And then Don Yanessa and Pat Paris will have the Central Catholic Woodland Hills game, a rematch of a regular season game that took 3 overtimes to decide. But here right now, we're worried about this Class A game. It's a close one, a 14-7 Rochester lead at halftime. We'll be back with the second half kickoff right after this.
Pittsburgh Sports Tonight.
Thank you, thank you, thank you!
It's the nightly newscast you've been waiting for.
This is the real deal.
30 minutes every night dedicated to scores, highlights, and interviews from your hometown teams.
We told you it was going to be good.
Your teams, your town, your show. Pittsburgh Sports Tonight, nightly at 10 on Fox Sports Net.
Come on and feel the love for the guys.
Introducing the best damn sports show, period.
Here are the rules. There are no rules.
A three-ring circus of ex-jocks and comedians where anything goes.
Hey, Mike, better load up on the Michael Jordan cologne because the Wizards stink.
It's 90 minutes of comedy, commentary.
Michael Jordan is still the best player in the NBA.
And all the scores and highlights you can possibly stand.
It's not sex, but it's close.
Weeknights at 7:30 and 11:30 on Fox Sports Net.
This is Coach Jim Gary of the Fort Cherry Rangers. This is Coach Jim Gary of the Fort Cherry Rangers. Jim, I watched your football team, and it seems that you're having some problems running the wide side of the field because of the speed Rochester has. Will you pound the middle here in the second half?
Well, yeah, we're going to try that. We're going to try to run it more up inside in the second half, see if we can open it up a little bit so we can get outside. And we're going to have to throw the ball more, too. I mean, they have a good defensive line up in there, so we're going to try to throw the ball a little bit more.
And watching your football teams over the past, this would sure be sweet if you can win this one.
I've been waiting a long time to win one, and I don't think I can last much longer. If we don't win today, I'm just going to maybe say we're never going to do it.
Well, Coach, anything special the viewers have to look for Fort Cherry to be successful here in the second half?
Well, I think we're going to have to run the ball more. Our pass offense isn't working. We're going to have to try to run the ball more, and maybe that'll help our passing game, too.
Best of luck to you, Coach, in your quest for the WPIAL goal. This is the Class A Championship on Fox Sports Net. Let's go back upstairs and join Guy Junker, also Sam LaFaso, and Mike White.
Thanks a lot, Bill. Jim Gary, as we mentioned, started in 1959 at Fort Cherry, played college football at Wake Forest, graduated in 1950, started out as a fullback, then moved up the offensive line and played guard. As we talked earlier in the broadcast, he has 3 sons, Tim, Kevin, and Sean. Tim and Kevin part of his staff here. Tim, the offensive coordinator, and actually calls the offensive plays. It's expected, as Mike told you earlier today, that he will one day take over the head coaching job for Fort Cherry when Jim decides to retire. He's coached some impressive people. Marty Schottenheimer played at Fort Cherry. Marvin Lewis, a defensive coordinator of the Baltimore Ravens, now played at Fort Cherry. And, of course, Mike Vernillo, the WPIAL's all-time leading rusher who started at West Virginia and has transferred to Slippery Rock, also played, just graduated in 1999.
Matter of fact, guys, you mentioned Marvin Lewis here. Their defensive coordinator right now for Fort Cherry, Phil Oliverio. He sometimes calls Marvin Lewis to talk a little bit about some X's and O's about Fort Cherry's team. Of course, Marvin gets a little above what Fort Cherry does, what the Ravens are doing, but they do stay in contact sometimes.
Marvin Lewis doesn't offer to bring Ray Lewis in here and let him play a game for Fort Cherry, though, huh?
Guy, you forgot, you left off 2 people. He coached Moses and Noah also.
43 years. It's unbelievable.
Could you imagine somebody coming in there and taking over for him without the name of Gary? I mean, how would that happen? That would be sacrilegious.
Well, his wife passed away a few years ago, and he says he really, he loves it. He doesn't want to quit. He's got good health, and he just, this is what he does now, and he's done a terrific job. They've never won that championship game, but this is their 6th consecutive season in the playoffs. In the 1990s alone, Fort Cherry has produced 6 Division I players. We talked Perry Ivory's going to go Division I, so for a small school with less than 200 boys in grades 9 through 12, they've really had a terrific program there.
You know what, I think it's nice. Many schools nowadays, Guy, when a coach retires as a teacher, he's not allowed to coach anymore because of the way the Pennsylvania retirement plans are. Or if he does coach, he has to do it unpaid. Sometimes they aren't even allowed to do that. Some schools have been able to work things out. Jim Gary is a case in point. They are able to work things out. He is retired from Fort Cherry School District, but is still able to coach, which I think is a nice thing, and I wish more school districts would be able to work that out.
And all kidding aside, Guy, he is a legend in his own time. I mean, that man has done a tremendous job of bringing that program along in the last 33 years.
There's Jeremy Kemp on the sideline. We pointed out early in the first half that he has a shoulder problem. Mike first noticed, actually, he wasn't even able to lift his arm up above his shoulder, and the way he's sitting on the bench, it looks like he's done for the day, unfortunately. A key part of that secondary for Fort Cherry.
Well, he's their free safety. Rochester, we said, does not throw the ball very much, but without the free safety back there, maybe they'll try and pick on that area a little bit, Sam.
I think they might be able to do that, Mike. They're going to try at least.
Well, we talk about the history of Fort Cherry. Rochester's got some impressive history, too. 5 WPIAL titles and 2 state championships. And those have all come in recent history, too. The 2 state titles in '98 and last year. And they had a running back that's way up there on the all-time WPIAL list, too. Essex Law, 16th on the WPIAL rushing list all-time. Actually, he's second all-time in yards per carry, though.
Right.
10.4 yards per carry in his high school career. Bell Vernon's Nick Kalsovic is the all-time leader, 10.7. Nick just graduated last year.
I think Gene Matzook, I tell you what, he's one of those good guys on coaching, guys. That you prove, hey, good guys can finish first. He's done a great job since taking over for his brother Dan Matzook. What's interesting about Gene, though, he does not teach in the Rochester School District, still teaches in the Freedom Area School District, which isn't far from Rochester. But that's a little, I guess you're seeing that more and more these days because head coaches are harder to find. But Gene Matzook has to come over every day from Freedom and coach. And a lot of coaches like to be in the school that they're coaching. Gene Matzook hasn't found that to be a problem.
You saw the pigeons fly away there. We first got here this morning. They were all on the field eating the seed. The Steelers a little concerned about 4 high school games being played here today, so they were even out at halftime in between band performances, working on the field. And
there they are.
There they go. Market Square pigeons.
Well, the food's so expensive, they have to eat that.
There you go. Fort Cherry will get the ball to start the second half, and we're underway. They're going to bounce the kick at the 35-yard line. It's taken by the up man for Fort Cherry. And that is Trevor Martinick. He does everything. Quarterback, defensive end, returns kicks. Pretty good field position to start the half, and we'll see if some of the things that Jim Gary told Bill Fontana they'd like to do offensively here in the second half, if they'll be able to do that.
And I think this series is going to be very critical. They're going to have to establish. They don't necessarily have to score a touchdown, but they're going to have to do something with the football to get a couple first downs to get some momentum back on their side. And battle of field position important too. A couple of first downs at least could, make Rochester work with a long field. They spent much of that second quarter in Fort Cherry territory. Ben Farrell, as he did in the first half, gets the first call of the second half. Gets 2 or 3 yards up near the 40-yard line.
Well, it's funny, you heard Jim Gary's comments coming out. First he said they wanted to throw the ball more. Then after that he said they wanted to run the ball more. So we'll see which one.
I think he wants to do both of them.
Well, a couple of years ago,
I think he wants to score more.
When Art Walker was coaching Shadyside Academy and they played South Park, we interviewed him at halftime, Bill Fontana, and here the interview got played on the big Jumbotron at Three Rivers. South Park was able to hear everything. So maybe Jim's just trying to confuse Matzook so he doesn't get to hear what's happening. Second play, it's Farrell again, right side, more room this time. Gets out to the 44, tries to reach it out over the 45-yard line. Going to be 3rd and
long one.
Yeah.
Guy, an interesting thing also to think about today is how will this field hold up by the time we're in the 3rd and 4th game, especially there's rain being forecast for later today. So far, it's fine. There are a couple areas that have been chewed up a little bit, but what's going to happen if it rains later today?
Yeah, between the hashes, it's pretty chewed up, and it's still better than turf. I'll take that any day of the week. They're not going to get it. No, not going to get it all. That make it. Defensive front of Rochester is just unbelievable. They tried to go right side, but there was no room there for Kemp. And on a tackle, who else? Javon Bradley.
And Jim Sadler. You've said those two all day long.
And I think what you're starting to see is the defensive down people on Rochester's defense is taking over momentum, and Rochester's offensive line is taking over the momentum.
Well, Martinick has shown he can throw a nice ball. I think, Mike hit it on the head. They got to get the ball to Ivory, but I think they got to get the ball to Ivory through the air because there just isn't any room on the ground, and if they're going to win this football game, it may come down to if they're able to throw the football or not here in the second half. They're going to measure. Oh, boy, they got it. Wow. That's a very friendly placement because it didn't look like he got near the 46-yard line.
That is unbelievable.
No, it didn't. Here's the other thing, I really don't think they are not going to be able to run the football and sustain a long drive against Rochester. I would be very surprised if that happens. somebody on Fort Cherry is going to have to make a big play, I think, for them to score.
Keep in mind the Fort Cherry touchdown, if you joined us late, came on the second play of the game. They recovered a fumble on the opening kickoff, so they have not driven the ball the length of the field at all. They have the short field to work with for their only score. Ivory wants to go left. He has no place to go, and he's going to be tackled for a loss. Bradley made the stop, but there was initial pressure in there which slowed him up and set things up for Javon Bradley to make the hit.
Jermaine Moore read that perfectly. He was the one that forced the pressure from the outside and turned it back in.
So it's going to be 2nd and 12, a loss of 2. Fort Cherry with just 10 rushing yards in the first half. Perry Ivory only had 18 in the game against Monaca. Went crazy in the second half running the ball, though. So far against Rochester, similar first half, but unfortunately for Fort Cherry, he's having a similar second half to today's first half, not to last week's second half.
We've got a penalty on Fort Cherry coming up here, guys.
Dead ball. Coach on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Guy, now that we have a little bit of a break here, I want to say hello to my Uncle Jim. He just had surgery in Beaver County Medical Center, and I know he's sitting there watching the game. He's a very big fan of yours, and I said, hey, Uncle Jim,
oh, hey, Uncle Jim. Good recovery to you.
Uncle Jim.
Hope you're feeling better.
Everybody's a fan of guys.
Yeah, everybody.
2nd and 17 up on the 39-yard line. Martinick wants to throw. He's going to go to the sideline, and it's caught there by Ivory. Nice move, and he did not step out of bounds. I thought he did for a second, but he got that extra yard. Antoine Horton, though, he's tough. Antoine Horton, we've seen today, you're not going to fake him out of his shoes. He stays right with Ivory, who has Division I moves.
Yes, you're exactly right. He does have Division I moves. The only thing that I think that's happening is they're only throwing the ball. They're throwing it horizontally rather than vertically. We need to get the ball down the field some. Let him utilize his speed.
Nice coverage on the play there by Nate Waldron initially. Now, he didn't make the tackle, but he turned Ivory inside and then got the help.
3rd down and 13. Martinick wants to put it up again. This time he rolls left, has nice protection, fires downfield. Ivory has it at the 45, the 40. He's to the 30, the 35, makes a move at the 20, and gets down to the 15-yard line. There's your downfield pass. And give the offensive line Fort Cherry credit there. They gave Martinick good protection until he could find Ivory open.
Well, you know, Javon Bradley blitzed, and they picked up the blitz beautifully here. You'll see the blitz, and then Perry Ivory just down the field, turns around. There's that big play that I talked about, guys. For Fort Cherry to win this game, they're going to need about 2 more of them, I think, from Perry Ivory.
Big first. Now, we've seen them convert on 3rd and 15, and here on 3rd and 13, so they have hit on a couple of big passes today, and they're trying to move into position to get the tying touchdown here. They trail by 7, 8:20 to go in the 3rd quarter.
And Perry just goes down, does a little curl, and then his feet does the rest of the work.
High formation. Farrell, second man through, gets very little off the left side. In fact, he gets nothing. It'll be 2nd and 10. Jim Sadler. What a game Jim Sadler is having for Rochester on defense.
What I think what's happening is they're trying to run from the offensive guard to the offensive tackle, and that's the strength of the 4-4. Next time Rochester lines up, if you'll look right over the middle, right over the center, there's about a 4-yard space. If they just run a quarterback sneak, they get 5 yards.
Harrington and Farrell in the
There we go.
Harrington with the quick pop up the middle.
There we go.
There you go, Sam. Good call, and he gets down to the 6-yard line.
That was exactly the call that I thought that I had mentioned there. They have about 5 yards between the offensive lineman to the linebacker.
Mike Harrington, and you don't hear his name very often. He's a bruising runner, as a fullback, 6 foot, 219-pound junior. But, you know, guy, he's carried the ball 58 times this year, showed some strength there, breaks off a tackle from Jim Sadler, and picks up some good yards. He's averaging 5 yards a carry, so he can do some damage.
Huge play here. Maybe we'll see the quarterback sneak. 3rd and 1 at the Rochester 6-yard line. No, we're going to have a pitch to Ivory. He's going to waltz in untouched for the touchdown. Fort Cherry scored first in the first half, and they score first here in the second. That time, Mike Harrington threw the key block that sprung Perry into the end zone.
Well, when we first started the second half, we said this drive was going to be important. And here comes the time of possession. Here comes, I don't know how many plays that was. It had to be about 9, 10.
8 plays.
8 plays. And a very consistent drive. Nice pass and mixing it up.
Watch the block by Mike Harrington on Jermaine Moy. That really freed him up, got him into the end zone. Now the all-important extra point. And for some reason, championship games, teams have trouble kicking down here.
Oh, they muffed the snap. Catrain wanted to kick it. Now he's looking to run it in, and he's going to be knocked down at the 6-7 yard line. The snap was high. The second missed extra point today. The first by Fort Cherry. Rochester already missed one, and Fort Cherry trails 14-13.
Guy, didn't this happen in the Quad A game?
Woodland Hills, Austin Novak.
Right. I thought it was very similar.
Just a bad, well, a little snap was a little high, and it goes right through the hands of Kevin Safner. Catrain tries to get it on his own, can't come up with it. That could come back to haunt them.
All right, it's a one-point game. Rochester leads Fort Cherry. Be back in a minute.
Get backed by Beryl Honda with an incredible deal. Lease a new 2002 Accord 4-door for just $199 a month. That's right, just $199 a month for a new Accord. Now through Monday only. Beryl Honda, the Tri-State's largest Honda dealer.
Shouldn't you get your own subscription to the Pittsburgh Tribune-Review? It's a heavyweight newspaper at a lightweight price. Now you can get 13 weeks of the Trib every day for just $9.99. So get a better read on Pittsburgh at a better price. The Trib, just $9.99. Dog not included.
Get backed by Beryl Savings. 0% financing on over 50 Beryl Cavaliers. Just $209 a month or $1,500 cash back. Plus no payments till 2002. Now through Monday only. Get backed by Beryl Chevrolet.
The Pigeons are feeding at Heinz Field, and so's Rochester right now. The Rams with a one-point lead on Fort Cherry. Midway through the third quarter here, Fort Cherry to kick off.
They mixed it up really well that time between the run and the pass.
Moy at the 20, 25-30, out to the 40. Moy gets to the 42-yard line before Tanner Lauterbaugh. Only 5'4" and 140 pounds, but Lauterbaugh, excellent special teams player. Second time today he's picked up a tackle on a kick.
Jermaine Moy, I'm kind of surprised they kicked to him again, guy.
Yeah, I was expecting a squib myself.
Yeah, I really wouldn't kick to him ever back there on a kickoff, but and you see he gets it up to the 42-yard line, pretty decent field position.
He's listed at 6'3", 195. He looks bigger than that to me.
He's in motion now, coming to the near side of your screen, but Bradley's going to get the ball, and Bradley fights his way, gets about 6-7 yards up to the 48-yard line before Perry Ivory finally brings him down. You don't want your secondary people making tackles on straight-ahead running plays, though. That scoring drive for Fort Cherry, capped by a Perry Ivory 6-yard touchdown run, took 5 minutes and 8 seconds off the clock, 64 yards in 8 plays. But the bad snap on the extra point keeps Fort Cherry down by 1.
Watch the offensive line neutralizing the defensive line of Fort Cherry.
Waldron left side. Looks like he has enough for the first down. For about the 48-yard line of Fort Cherry. Tackle made by Ben Farrell. And it is indeed a first down for Rochester.
You know, we talked about that extra point. Will that haunt them later on? Neither of these teams have very good kicking games, guy, and not very many extra points this year really have been kicked by Fort Cherry. Neither team has kicked a field goal this year.
And I think that goes back to the field goals in the last 15 years has come to buy because of the soccer programs all shooting up all over the WPIAL. And I don't think that either one of these two schools have a soccer program.
Bradley gets to the 40, now maybe to the 39-yard line. Big first down yardage. Tom Weaverling making the tackle.
You know, they've kind of, Javon Bradley's run that play a number of times today, Sam. We're running to the right and just a little cutback to the left, and it's worked very well each time.
Well, what happens is the lead blocker is determining. He's going off of the butt of the lead blocker, and you never know where that linebacker is going to be met in the hole.
He's a horse, too. He just doesn't want to go down. They moved him to fullback. He's played fullback and tailback, filled in wherever they needed him. When Moy was hurt earlier this year, he switched positions. I don't know if that's enough for a first down or not. It's going to depend on the placement.
I quit trying after that last time that we had that discussion. I didn't think that he was even close.
Yes, it is. That's another first down, and right now you got to be impressed with the way the Rochester offensive line is opening up running rooms. 4 plays has picked up enough for 2 first downs.
Well, what you have to be concerned about now is this is 4-down territory. Rochester's not going to punt the ball if they get another opportunity to go for short yardage.
Waldron right side down to the 29-yard line, and you talk about how these programs just keep doing well year in and year out. You can see why. You got a guy like Waldron who's coming back, and he's been a big part of this team here, even with all the senior talent they have. He gets a lot of work here. He's only a sophomore.
Big hole there. You know, it's a Rochester guy. This is a team that was really expected to roll, I think, the whole season. They lost a game early on. They lost a game late in the season. But even Gene Matzook said the heart of a champion is tough to take away. They've won 15 of the last 16 postseason games.
Waldron in motion. Moy gets the call right side, has some room, bounces off a couple of tacklers before he is wrestled down by David Hurst, but he picks up another first down, and Rochester methodically moving down the field and taking time off the clock.
Well, we talked about it in the studio the other night, Guy. How does certain teams, and if you look across to the WPIAL, and always the same teams are there every year. Just think about it. Not only are they young, but they're playing against those guys every day at practice, so that's how they get good.
Bradley gets to about the 23-yard line. Not a whole lot of room that time. Hey, coming up tonight, it's Pittsburgh Sports Tonight. 30 minutes of nightly sports news completely dedicated to the home teams throughout Pittsburgh. For extended regional highlights and in-depth interviews, catch Pittsburgh Sports Tonight. Dan Potash and Stephanie Davis will be along at 10 o'clock only on Fox Sports Net. 6th play of the drive so far, all on the ground. Rochester has not thrown a pass yet on this drive. Good field position. The Jermaine Moy kickoff return started things at the 42-yard line. Bradley really has to fight for anything off the left side. Loses the football, but his knee had already touched the ground. Steve Blanchard, the freshman, with the tackle. But what's this kid eating? He's a freshman. He's 6 foot 220.
He broke through the line there and held on for dear life after making the initial hit. You know, you see more in the Class A schools of freshmen starting or sophomore starting. You see some of that a lot more in the smaller schools than you do in Quad A. Boy, does that kid have a bright future.
He sure does. This is a big play right here.
3rd down and 5. They need to get to the 16-yard line for a first. It's on the 21. Bradley tries to go outside. Farrell can't wrestle him down, pushes him out of bounds real close to the first down. Looks like he's going to be a little short. So let's head down to the sidelines now to hear from Bill Fontana.
This is Bernadette, and she is, well, Gene Matzook's wife, I guess you can say that. Guy Junker's going to love you because you're in blue and white. You're a Penn State grad.
I am. I'm a Penn State grad.
Funny story you told me. Gene told you that if Rochester won, well, you tell us about it.
Eugene told us that, he didn't tell me, he told the players that if they won and came to Heinz Field, that they were all invited over to our house for Thanksgiving. Well, I told him, you just have to ask your mother-in-law. And my mother said, yeah, that was fine. He could come over.
There you go, Guy. Let's go back upstairs to you.
Thanks, Bill. On 4th and 1, Bradley got plenty more than one. He gets inside the 5-yard line. It's 1st and goal for Rochester at the Fort Cherry 3.
And all they're doing is going from tackle to tackle, and that offensive line is getting a surge. Backs reading it. They have a lead blocker, and it's just power football.
You know, Javon Bradley's 5'10", 200 pounds guy. That is nice size for a running back at the Class A level.
It surely is.
1st and goal, they put the ball at the 4. Fort Cherry hanging tough, though. They had gotten within 1 on their last possession, missed the extra point, but now Rochester with a chance to go ahead by 2 scores should they kick the extra point, or should they get the 2-point conversion. What do you do here, Sam, if you go in? You go for 2 or kick?
I think he's going to kick. Well, personally, if it was me with that kicker, I was going to go ahead and run the ball. I mean, I'm not going to take a chance with that offense. I'm going to just put it in the hands of the running backs and the offensive line.
2nd and goal. Ball on the 2. Jermaine Moy leaps into the end zone. Touchdown, Rochester. So the Rams have answered. Fort Cherry had marched 64 yards in 8 plays. Rochester takes the kick. It's good field position, and they go 58 yards.
Jermaine Moy showing a little air underneath him, diving over for the touchdown.
He's a man.
11-play drive, 58 yards now. If they go for the 2 and they make it, then it's a 2-score ball game.
They're going to go for 1. Javon Bradley will kick it.
Javon missed the first extra point he tried today. This one is up, and it is good. So the score now is Rochester 21, Fort Cherry 13, still within a touchdown. 1 minute and 6 seconds to go here in the third quarter. 2 of the last 3 WPIAL titles, 2 of the last 3 PIAA state titles have gone to the Rochester Rams. They were the Big 7 champs last year. They'd overcome a little bit more this year as they work on Moy on the sidelines because they lost 2 conference games. They were the 10th seed coming into the playoffs, and here they are in the championship game anyway.
Well, that's what I said, Guy. You know, Rochester was the Post-Gazette's #1 ranked team in WPIAL and the state at the beginning of the season. They had a lot of people back from last year. They lost that game early on, though, to Farrell. They lost the game at the last conference game of the season to Monacan. I think a lot of people really forgot about this team because of those 2 losses. And they've proved, hey, you shouldn't have. Their experiences come through, and there's something about teams that are defending champs that when they get to the playoffs, they tend to take it up another level. I think that's what Rochester has done. And I'm telling you, these pigeons are all over the field right now, guys. But I'll tell you, they better be out of here by the time the Quad A game comes because Steve Breast and Andrew Johnson are so fast, they might run one of them down and step on it.
The other thing I'd like to mention too, Mike, is that if you look at Rochester's defense or offensive down people, they only have 1 senior in that whole mix. So they had a young line coming in, and it's taken them a little time to gel, and this is happening right at the right time for them.
Ivory takes the ball at his own 13. He gets out across midfield, and he gets into Rochester territory before he's brought down by Jim Sadler.
Mr. Big Play. I said it before. If they're going to win this game, they're going to need about 2 or 3 more of them. He does it this time on a kickoff return. He's done it on a pass reception. He's had a couple runs here. Now he's on the kickoff return. The wedge set up nicely right through the middle. Makes some nice moves, breaks some tackles. Look who chased. Well, he touched him when he was down. Number 66, Jim Sadler.
You know, I'm surprised again, though. Are you going to? I'm
Why
just surprised
kick to him?
they're kicking to these superstars here.
Yes, they are.
If I'm kicking off, I got to bounce that ball around and make somebody field it on the bounce.
There's that play that I was talking about up the middle. That's where to attack it, right there.
Gathers about, the game's at only 3 yards. Sadler again on the stop for Rochester. And
Guy, you said
last minute here, the third quarter now, and important for Fort Cherry, I think, to answer again here now.
Yeah, and you talked about having the tiebreaker points in your bag. You read over those things. Mike and I are changing them. We're having a race here for tiebreaker. We'll see who has the best speed.
Okay.
Who is it, me against you?
I know who my money's on.
Who you take? You got Ivory. I know that.
All right, here we go. 2nd down and 6. Ball on the 43-yard line of Rochester. Power I formation. Pitch is going to go back to Ivory. He's got room up that right side.
There he goes.
Get initial room, boy. He'll make it happen after he gets through. Perry Ivory all the way from Fort Cherry. Touchdown!
Mike, you got to be dancing in heaven right now, man. You've called this the whole way.
Well, that's the equalizer. He is the equalizer. Mr. Answer, Mr. Versatility. Call him what you want. Up the middle, cut to the outside, around Mr. Jermaine Moy. He can't catch him. Nobody can catch him, not even Antoine Horton. Perry Ivory, I've said, now this game definitely is turning an Ivory Keller guy.
Moy dove early and couldn't wrap him up. Good blocking in there. And if you spring him past the line and get him into the linebackers of the secondary, it's tough to bring him down.
Well, I thought Rochester had speed back there, and he just left them in the dust.
He runs. He has a vertical leap of 42 inches and has a legit 4.47 time in the 40, and he showed it off right there. So they're going to go for 2, and the tie, obviously. The pitch will be to Ivory. Nothing up the middle. Goes around the side.
He didn't get it.
Just
He didn't get it.
short.
He went down short.
Just short.
Jermaine Moy made the play. First, Antoine Horton got the penetration. Jermaine Moy stopped him. Watch here. Pitch to the outside. Well, watch Horton come up now. A good cut to the outside by Ivory. Horton makes the penetration. Jermaine Moy saves the day.
You know, he might have gotten in, but they got a hand on the football, and he hesitated 1 second to try to protect the ball and keep it in his hands. Look, right there. Boom, starts coming out.
Looks like that play against the Tennessee Titans.
That's right. That's right.
What's his name? Dyson.
And the Super Bowl. Dyson. Kevin Dyson. So here we are with 2 seconds left in the third quarter. We got an injured player on the field. Is that Bradley?
I don't think so. Maybe it is. It looks like a 2. It's either a 2 or a 7.
Well, although where they're working, it looks like probably just cramps when you're in that calf area, rubbing down the calves, which they were doing to Jermaine Moy before, and that is Javon Bradley. That looks like cramps.
Well, and we talked, too, about the small schools playing both ways. You know, you got a guy like Perry Ivory takes off on a 46-yard touchdown run. Then he's out on kickoff coverage. Then he's out playing in the secondary. There's not a whole lot of time to rest. It's a good football game. Right?
Oh, very good.
We thought this was going to be, you know, like a 10-7 game.
You prepared me for that for the whole morning. You kept saying they don't throw, they don't do this, they don't do that, and I'm going, wow.
Well, you were the one that said this game will be over in 23 minutes. They're just going to run up and down.
As soon as Mike came in, I said, Mike, this is going to be the shortest ball game in the history of WPIAL championship because it'll be over in 23 minutes.
We got a little over a quarter to go. It's 21-19, 3 touchdowns for each team. The extra points have been an issue for both sides. Rochester able to convert on a 2-point conversion to make up for their first miss. Fort Cherry, though, because of a bad snap on their second touchdown, had to go for 2 there. And if the final score is 21-19, boy, you're going to think about that football resting on the white line or the goal line there on the 2-point conversions for a long time. This kick's a little bit shorter this time, but Rochester's not going to get the field position that they did on their last kick. So that will be the end of the third quarter. Rochester 21, Fort Cherry 19. Back with the fourth and maybe final quarter right after this.
Shouldn't you get your own subscription to the Pittsburgh Tribune Review? It's a heavyweight newspaper at a lightweight price. Now you can get 13 weeks of the Trib every day for just $9.99. So get a better read on Pittsburgh at a better price. The Trib, just $9.99. Dog not included.
It's the gift of a grandchild's laugh. It's the gift of a sister's advice. It's the holiday gift they'll really love. Time together. Thanks to Verizon Wireless.
Now get 3,500 total monthly minutes for just $35 monthly access on select digital plans, so you can call anyone, anywhere in the U.S. and talk all you want with nationwide long distance included. And get a free Motorola phone with activation after mail-in rebate.
So give your loved ones the gift they really want. You. Verizon Wireless. Join in.
Hi, I'm Bill Oliveria of Oliveria Chevrolet Buick. Out here at McDonald, we do business a little different. We don't use a lot of hype to sell cars. We sell cars by exceeding our customers' expectations, and we have for over 30 years. Come on in and look around. We have a full line of new Chevrolets and Buicks to choose from, and we're offering the lowest finance and lease rates available.
Oliverio Chevrolet Buick, Laurel Hill Road in the hills of McDonald, minutes from Bridgeville and Scott Township.
There's no hype in the hills, just an honest car buying experience.
Come on and feel the love for the guys.
Introducing the best damn sports show, period.
Here are the rules. There are no rules.
A three-ring circus of ex-jocks and comedians where anything goes.
Hey, Mike, better load up on the Michael Jordan cologne because the Wizards stink.
It's 90 minutes of comedy, commentary.
Michael Jordan is still the best player in the NBA.
And all the scores and highlights you can possibly stand.
It's not sex, but it's close.
Weeknights at 7:30 and 11:30 on Fox Sports Net.
It's a perfect day for football in late November in Pittsburgh, and the WPIAL Championships on Fox Sports Net are presented by Verizon Wireless. Join in. And by McDonald's. We love to see you smile. 1 quarter to go in the Class A title game, the first of 4 to be broadcast here on Fox Sports Net today, and it's been a great one. Rochester leading Fort Cherry 21-19. 12 minutes of football left to play here. Each team with 3 touchdowns. Quite a third quarter. Perry Ivory, 2 Fort Cherry touchdowns. in that quarter. One from 6 yards, one from 46. Sandwiched in between was a Moy touchdown, and Rochester continues to run the football. Waldron that time stopped by Trevor Martinick and Mike Harrington.
And they're playing a 4 also, and they're running the ball right over the center because that's the most vulnerable place in the 4 defense.
What can you do to stop? You just have to have a. If you got a 4 defense, you just have to have that opening there.
Well, what you have to do, yeah,
get a linebacker
it has to be there. But those 2 linebackers have to fill it. But what they're trying to accomplish on the 4 is they got 4 people on one side of the ball and 4 people on the other side of the ball, and they run to the sidelines.
On 2nd and 2, this time it's going to be Horton. And it looks like he has enough for a Rochester first down near the 44-yard line. Stephen Blanchard, the freshman, with the tackle for Fort Cherry.
You know, since that opening kickoff, guys, Rochester really has not made a mistake today.
No, they have not.
And I think, you know, that's the type of team they are. It shows good discipline. I think if Fort Cherry is going to win this game, 2 things going to have to happen. Perry Ivory, big play, or a mistake from Rochester.
Well, I hope somebody else scores again because I don't want the game decided by a missed 2-point conversion. Left side, Waldron bulls his way across midfield and into Fort Cherry territory to the 49-yard line. Picks up 5 or 6. Mike Loft with the stop for Fort Cherry.
You know, we mentioned Javon Bradley with his good size, but all the running backs for Rochester have good size. You're talking about Nate Waldron. He's 5'11", 185. Jermaine Moy, he's 6'3". You know, those are big backs for Class A football, and they're showing what their size and strength can do.
Saw some of the Washington fans filtering in. Washington Beaver Falls coming up at 1:30 for the AA title. Waldron that time has nothing. Tons of cherry-colored jerseys from Fort Cherry, led by Stephen Blanchard, who's had a terrific game at tackle here. Let's take a look at our statistics through 3 quarters of play. First downs, fairly even. Rushing yards, a big advantage for Rochester, but passing yards, it's been all Fort Cherry. Total yards in the game, fairly even. Turnovers, time of possession, penalties. This game's going to be decided in the 4th quarter.
It really is going to be decided in the 4th quarter. And I think the thing that Mike mentioned is that for somebody to really step out, there's going to be a turnover, and we talked about that earlier.
3rd and 3, Horton stopped. He will not get it.
They better not spot the ball like they did the last time.
Matt Schiff with the stop for Fort Cherry. A big play for Matt. It's going to be a 4th down decision now for Rochester. Ground level view of it right there. He ran into a wall.
Rochester's converted a number of 3rd down plays today, even some on 4th, but Fort Cherry comes up with a big stop on that one. But Rochester has enough confidence in that running game to say, hey, try and do it again.
They're going to go for it. They got a long yard to go, about 4 feet here. There's the 4th down conversions, both 0 for 2 on the game. Horton stopped initially, good second effort, and he got it.
Second effort.
Antoine Horton.
I'll tell you what, I give Fort Cherry's defense a lot of credit. They came here, they're really playing well.
There's another look at it right here, and I think if he doesn't get that second right there, he's stopped. But he gets a yard and a half with the second effort, and it's a first down now at the 45-yard line, and we'll see if that turns out to be a big play and a possible scoring drive here. They went for it on 4th down. It's a lot of confidence Gene Matzuk has in his offense, because that would have given Fort Cherry excellent field position. Remember, they already have a 2-point lead. They could probably be a little more conservative right now than Fort Cherry.
What happens also is whether they score or not, they're continually driving the ball, and they're going to eat up just in the next 2 or 3 minutes. They're going to eat up 3 or 4 minutes off the clock, which really puts a lot of pressure on Fort Cherry to have a big play.
Waldron, the bull there, picking up 9 yards. Won't go down. It's going to be 2nd down and 1.
Javon Bradley, we saw him with the cramp problem earlier. He hasn't been in this series at all. What happens? They throw another back in there. Antoine Horton. You talk about Bradley, you talk about Jermaine Moy, you talk about Nate Waldron, but who picks up that 4th down play? The 4th guy, Horton.
Running back high.
Yep, they faked to the second man through, but Waldron carried that one and gets the first down. Tanner Louderbaugh on the tackle for Fort Cherry.
You know, it's no secret what they're going to do here, Sam. Full house backfield, 2 tights, they're coming right at you.
They're coming right at you and doing what they've done all year and what they've done in the last 10 years that have made them successful. Those running backs rely on those linemen to give them three or four yards, and then they'll end up breaking one.
Moy, Waldron. It's going to be Waldron, left side. Picks up 3 or 4 more yards. And Rochester now just dominating at the line of scrimmage. David Hirsch with the tackle for Fort Cherry. Later on today, high school football continues with the WPIAL Class AA championship game. Coverage of that one starts at 1:30 right here on Fox Sports Net. Rob King and Kevin Gorman will have that game for you.
Watch the defense from Fort Cherry. They got 9 people within 2 yards of the line of scrimmage.
We haven't seen Adam Moore throw a ball, I don't think, in the second half. Oh, a lot of running room up the left side. 9 men may have been close to the line of scrimmage, but that didn't stop Antoine Horton. Mike Luff finally made the tackle, and it's one thing to replace Bradley. You got to put a body in there, but you replace him with a guy and you start giving him the ball, and he's producing.
And as you said, he's coming through. You know, Javon Bradley's not in the game. Here comes Antoine Horton. Coming into today, he only had 50 carries, but he was averaging 5.7 yards a carry, guys. So really, maybe we shouldn't be surprised at what he's done.
Terrific block by Waldron, too, at the line of scrimmage, leading the way for him. First down and 10 at the 14-yard line. Fort Cherry really needs to bucket up here now on defense. Waldron carries down to about the 11. Picks up about 3 yards before David Hirsch stops him for Fort Cherry.
Guy, who do you think Horton practices against 5 days a week? That defense from Rochester. So he's going against the best defense in WPIAL, giving up 97 points all year, and they're in the championship game, and he runs the scout team against them. So when he gets in this game, this is heaven to him.
2nd and 7, ball on the 11-yard line. They can get a first down. They'd have to get to the 4 to get that. It's going to be Moy this time, and he twists, turns, spins, drags 2 tacklers with him and gets inside the 5, and he's real close to the first down. And it looks like he got it. The ball's inside the 4 at about the 3.5. A lot of heart here by Moy. Talk about cramps. They were working on him for cramps earlier in the half. Right now, though, he's giving headaches to Fort Cherry's defense.
And he's going right over, cut back right over that center's nose and right back across the green.
Here's our Tribune Review game summary. Perry Ivory, 3 touchdowns in the game, 2 in the third quarter, 17 for the season. Fort Cherry, 10 yards rushing in the first half, running the ball much better in the second. Jermaine Moy, 2 touchdowns for Rochester. Javon Bradley, 16 carries, 77 yards. Our Pittsburgh Tribune Review game summary. First and goal now at the 4-yard line. Rochester knocking on the door, and if they score and convert either a kick or a 2-point conversion, Fort Cherry would need 2 scores then to win the ball game. This is critical right here. Handoff, Moy, touchdown, Rochester. Jermaine Moy off the right side into the end zone, and Rochester is ahead by 8. Nate Waldron and Skylar Freed with terrific blocks to help spring Moy for his 2nd touchdown of the game.
And it's power off tackle right. Just good old strong power running. And he's a man, Mike.
They have a lot of men in that backfield.
They sure do.
For Class A football. And, you know, in the booth next to us over here is the Rochester coaches helping them out, though. Danny Matzook. Did he call that play? Maybe, guy. I don't know.
That
sounds like his call. Yeah. Gene's brother, Dan.
Bradley is on for the the kick is up. It's no good. It bounces off the post. Makes it interesting. Don't go anywhere. Fort Cherry still within a touchdown with 5:25 to go. We'll be back for the finish of the title game right after these messages.
Got some spare change? Then get to McDonald's, because cheeseburgers are only 49 cents every Monday and Thursday. And every Sunday, 20-piece chicken McNuggets are just $2.99. 49-cent cheeseburgers and $2.99 20-piece chicken McNuggets, only at McDonald's.
Hi, my name is Joe Androstic, sales manager at Sandal Motors, Route 30 East in Greensburg. For years, we've been telling you if you buy a Buick or Oldsmobile someplace else, you'll pay more money. Well, the same holds true as it has in the past. We sell Buicks and Oldsmobiles at the lowest bottom line prices you'll find anywhere. So there's no reason to wait for year-end clearance sales, factory promotions. Your best deal, excellent customer service can only be found right here at Sandell Motors. So remember, if you buy a Buick Rolls-Royce someplace else, you'll pay more money.
All right, welcome back. We got 5:25 to play here in the fourth quarter. Rochester leads Fort Cherry by 8. Fort Cherry has been able to run the football much better here in the second half than they were in the first. They don't have a whole lot of time now, though. They need a touchdown and a two-point conversion to tie, and this very well could be their last possession.
Well, that missed extra point.
Like, you got to tell us what the segue is that's going to cause Fort Cherry to win this game.
You've been right so far.
Watch number 2. Watch number 2. But that missed extra point guy, you know, they used to use the NFL-sized goalposts, which were more narrow, up until about 3 years ago. Now they use the high school-sized goalposts, so that was not a difference on that. Years ago, people complained about the NFL goalposts being more narrow, and back in 1985, I saw those NFL goalposts decide a game. The Quad A Championship, Gateway North Hills. T.J. Osmond missed a field goal near the end of the first half. Hit the upright. If it would have been the high school goalpost, would have been good.
I remember that game too, man.
Well, you guys are old.
You didn't have to tell me that.
Danny Fike's going to kick off for Rochester. Let's see if he squibs this one now. We've talked about the great running backs both of these teams have, yet they've been kicking off both ends. There we go. Seems like they're still going to get great field position. Though it's fielded by Hirsch, the up man, and he gets it out to the 44-yard line. So, hey, Fort Cherry, let's see if Barry Ivory can do it now. He's been doing it all day.
He did it on the first possession of the game for Fort Cherry, their first touchdown after the turnover. He takes it in on the short pass, makes Rochester pay. Then he gets a little bit, does the job running the football, and then you're going to see him again here. Make the cut to the outside, another touchdown. He has been Mr. Everything. We talked about him, Mr. Versatility for Fort Cherry. He's the guy to watch on this series, too.
It's going to be really interesting right here.
On the 44. Right side, Harrington gets to the 3-yard line, possibly. Stop made by Rochester's Ryan Woods.
He might have lost a yard. He did.
Sam, you're the former coach right now at this stature of the game. I think, do you not have to have double coverage on Perry Ivory?
Oh, you absolutely do. You got to, maybe not double, but you're going to at least put a half a man out there, especially on the 4. You can bring that linebacker out there. You can either press cover him and then play him deep, but you got to do something different.
Ivory split out wide to the left now along with Kemp. Martinek's going to roll left. Wants to throw there. Good coverage. Now he has outfield deep. Kemp is open deep. The ball tipped away. Jermaine Moore, terrific. I'm not sure if he got a hand on it, but he certainly got his hand up and blocked his vision. Let's see if he actually touches the ball or not.
Well, Trevor Martinek let one loose.
I don't think he touched it.
Looked like Antoine Horton might have got a hand on that. He was beaten a little bit, but that's a long throw rolling to your left for Trevor Martinek. A long way to throw the football.
50 yards in the air.
Where did Ivory wind up on this play?
Ivory did a curl.
He did the curl, and he did a out and up.
3rd and 11 now. So Fort Cherry had good field position after the kickoff, but they've lost a yard in 2 plays.
You got to hit that seam right in the middle with Perry.
They were confused on what they wanted to do. They might have had too many guys on the field, so they called a timeout. Hopefully that's not going to come back to haunt them. So Fort Cherry with a timeout. We're going to take a break. We have 4:37 to play. It's Rochester 27, Fort Cherry 19. I hope the rest of the day is as good as this one. It's been a great game.
Running here, running there. I got no time to shop. I got no time to spare. Gotta pick up some milk, send it back and get some gas. Gonna grab a bite to eat, gotta do it fast. But it's only one place to go. Get it on the Togo. Oh, for you it's Togo. Get what you want, when you want, where you want it, Togo.
The all-time leading rusher in the WPIAL from Fort Cherry, Mike Vernillo, over 8 yards a carry. Mike, this day, championship day, what do you remember about it?
Oh, yeah, well, I was real young. I was only 15, and I was a sophomore, but I remember it was a great time. I mean, Three Rivers was a special place, and I'm glad I got to play there before I got knocked down. And, you know, Mr. Gary, head coach, never won nothing. Championship in his career, so I'm trying to hopefully we can pull it out.
Quickly, what do they have to do? Do they have a chance here?
Yeah, they're only down 8 points. They got to hurry up, get the ball in the end zone, score, because they like to take a lot of time off the clock, Rochester.
Thank you very much. Mike Vernillo, back up to Guy.
Thanks, Bill. Martinick pass downfield, almost intercepted. Antoine Horton there. He had a man open, had to throw on the run. Gets the body, though. Incomplete. It's going to be 4th down and 11.
Little curl pattern right over the middle.
Threw it a little too late there. Held on a little too long. Perry Ivory was open. Had some pressure on him, Martinick. If he'd thrown a little earlier, might have gotten it to him.
Still talking with Mike Vernillo. Brad Tokar, also one of the best running backs in WPIAL history, played at Fort Cherry. In fact, when he graduated, he was 6th on the all-time list.
Used to be that gaining 4,000 yards was such a feat.
Yeah.
Nowadays, guys, gone up to 5,000.
Over 7,000, right. All right, here it is. Could be the ball game. 4th and 11.
Wow.
Martinick rolls left. Pressured. He's going to keep the ball himself, and he's not going to get it. He gets to about the 43-yard line. It was never open. Nate Tucker for Rochester makes the big play. Rochester gets the football with 4:23 to play and an 8-point lead.
Guy, I don't know whether with 4:23 left to go in the game, that was the right opportunity to go ahead and go for it there. You're in 4-down territory, and Rochester's that grinds out kind of an offense. I mean, you're playing right in their hand now.
Watch Nate Tucker. He's a 6'3", 230-pound sophomore. Does he show some speed here? Tracking down Trevor Martinick, a defensive end, Nate Tucker.
He'll be in the backfield next year.
He was in the backfield on that play. 1st and 10 on the 42-yard line of Fort Cherry. Rochester now, they don't need to score. They just need to kill the clock. They might be able to do both. Maine Moy picks up 5 yards on the 1st down run.
3 first downs, it's over.
I think they might have been worried Fort Cherry, Sam, really ever getting the ball back. That's my way. I think why they went for that. I would have been guys.
That's why I said, Mike, at the beginning of that last possession, this could be the beginning of their final possession of the game because of the way that Rochester's been able to dominate the clock with these long drives. I don't think Rochester's thrown a pass in the second.
They have not. But the longer the field, the more chances or opportunities of making a mistake.
There goes Bradley. He gets to the 30. Well, instead of running for 8 or 10 yards of pump, we'll tell him to run for 5 or 6.
Javon Bradley, those plans must have been worked out back into the game. I really believe if Rochester goes on and wins this game, Guy, excellent shot of winning the state championship. The WPIAL, oh, never mind the WPIAL, Big 7. They've won 5 of the past 6 state championships. There's that Southern Columbia team waiting on the other side, but they keep losing in the state final.
There's the first down right there. 2 more and it's over.
Hand off to Bradley. Didn't have any room at first, but he makes some room. Fumbles the football. Perry Ivory recovers.
There's the mistake.
Fort Cherry's going to get another opportunity. 25 consecutive running plays for Rochester, and on the 25th they fumble.
Now think about this. If they would have punted the ball, this field position, instead of being on the 22, could have been on the 40, 45 of Rochester's.
Yep. Ivory and Crowley right there to recover that ball.
That's the mistake they were looking for. They're just not in the right field position now.
Josh Kemp stripped it. Josh Kemp with the strip.
All right, here they are on their own 23-yard line. 3:14 to work with. They've used 1 timeout. They have 2 left. Martinick. He completes the pass. No, it's incomplete. He hit Ben Farrell, and then Ben Farrell got separated from the football. And probably his senses, too.
Well, I told you, I think they hit anything named Farrell. Last week it was the Farrell Steelers.
Doesn't matter.
Now it's Ben Farrell.
The back of the shirt.
Ouch.
That's the only thing they know how to do is to hit.
Nate Waldron. Hello, young man.
Well, while they tend to him, we should thank some of the folks working with us here today. Dennis Galloway directing, bringing you all the great pictures. Dennis is our director on Pirate baseball, so maybe a high school game. We got the age crew here today. Roger Lenhart, our producer. Dave Beatty, our spotter up here in the booth. John Duffy, for many years now, our statistician. All bringing you the WPIAL championship games here from Heinz Field. This is the first championship game at Heinz Field, the first championship game at Three Rivers Stadium. The high school championship game in the WPIAL was won by Mount Lebanon, 35-12 over Kiski area back in 1970.
I'm surprised you knew that, guy.
I'm not as old as you, but I read what you do, so I learn a lot. All right, the barrel is up and moving. I'm not sure how.
He has to come out here. Oh, I see. He's just walking across the field. I thought he was heading back to the huddle.
Maybe he doesn't know where he's heading. He took a hard hit. Ben Farrell's an excellent player, though.
Yes, he is. Well, they got two people lined up over top of Perry Ivory right now. And the free safety's playing back. I'm sure he knows what. They're dogging him. Look at him. They're double covering him.
They got to throw the ball. Oh, a little bit of a hand in there, but good coverage. Both Horton and Moy were back there deep. Threw that ball a long way, though.
Threw it 44 yards.
Another injury for Fort Cherry. They're losing some of their big guns here in the last few minutes.
Josh Kemp's brother Jeremy hurt early in the game. Now Josh slow in getting up. That's a good ball, but that's great coverage back there.
Well, I think he was looking to Perry Ivory out in the flat, but he had two men on him.
They're
he looked him off and went deep, just tried to throw one up, maybe get a break.
With them dropping back and double covering a couple of receivers here, do you have time with 3:01 to go to run a draw, to run a couple of plays?
I've seen double coverage, but I've never seen double press coverage. I mean, they're right up in his face, following him all over, front and back.
Kemp comes to the sideline. 3rd and 10. Now they just got to worry about moving the sticks.
Yeah, they got to get a first down.
Great ball game here. Rochester leading by 8. Under 3 minutes to go. Martinick wants to throw. Has some time. Throws it into the dirt, though. Ivory not really open. Nice coverage by Mitchell Getman. And Van Norman providing some pressure.
You know, it looked like there was a little bumping going on there.
Whatever happens here in this last few minutes, guy, I think you have to give Fort Cherry a ton of credit this year. Everybody talks about this Big 7 conference, and rightly so, where Rochester comes from. I don't think anybody expected Fort Cherry to be in this championship game. They play in the Ohio Valley Conference, which is considered a weak conference in single A, and I think they've surprised everybody. Even if they lose here today, it's been one heck of a run for Jim Gary and his crew.
And they're a very young team. They could possibly be back here next year.
Martinick wants to throw. He's hounded. Ball batted up in the air.
That's bad.
But not going to be enough for a first down. Mike Harrington, boy, he was Johnny on the spot. And all he does is get back to about the original line of scrimmage, and Rochester's going to take over. And it would appear that defensive stand by the Rams has iced the football game for them.
Some good pressure on the quarterback there by who else? Sadler. And Nate Tucker again, the sophomore coming through. That ball hit about, it looked like it hit 2 people before Harrington came up with it.
You know, they're 2:44. There's a lot of time still left in the game. But you're relying on the team to make another mistake, and Rochester doesn't seem like they're going to do that.
1st and 10, ball on the 21-yard line, and they're going to go off left side with Waldron.
Nate Waldron on the carry.
Mentioned it. This is the first WPIAL title game decided here, and I mentioned the Mount Lebanon win, the first WPIAL game decided at Three Rivers. Westinghouse actually played in the first championship games at both fields. The City League title games were held before the WPIAL both times. Westinghouse losing to Perry here earlier this year.
Perry playing this afternoon in the state AAA quarterfinals against Bradford. Boy, everybody is waiting to see what Perry and the WPIAL champ will do.
2nd down and 8. Rochester with the ball and in control of the football game if they can hang on here. Waldron again. What a game he has had here for the Rams today. Gets to the 16. Ben Farrell with a stop for Fort Cherry. Oh, boy, this is just going to be, you know, Jim Gary, your heart has to go out. 43 years as the head coach, never won the title, and they were within 2 blades of grass of tying this game up with a 2-point conversion. And little did we know that He wouldn't get that close to the end zone again.
Well, the sad part about it is Jim Gary is going to lose this football game, but Jim Gary's program and what he's accomplished, he can never be considered a loser, and nobody that walks off this field today is going to be a loser.
No, absolutely not. Well, we've talked a lot about Perry Ivy for Fort Cherry. Jermaine Moy with 2 of the 4 touchdowns for Rochester today. Let's take a look at some of what Moy has provided here in this football game. There he is going off the left side for 1 touchdown. There he is diving in for another touchdown. Terrific game for Jermaine Moy today, offensively as well as defensively. Plays safety. Came into the game with 881 yards.
Well, if Fort Cherry can come up with 2 defensive plays here, guys, they are going to get the football back, and they will have a little bit of time on the clock. They have 1 timeout left. So it's not totally out of the realm of possibility that they could come up with a big play here and still go down and get a touchdown with an offensive score.
This is a big play right here.
3rd and 5. Mr. Optimistic, Mike White. Pitch to Bradley left side, and
not going to make it.
No, makes his way inside the 15 to about the 14. Matt Schiff wrestles him to the ground.
Going to be about 3 yards short.
I guess you don't even think about a field goal.
Oh, no, they had one blocked and returned for a touchdown last week against Farrell. That is a game going through Gene Matzook's mind.
And they missed 2 extra points today kicking, so.
Getting back to the Perry triple-A game, is that in Harrisburg?
Today's game is at Couple Stadium. You're talking about today?
Yes,
Bradford.
today.
Yeah, they're playing Bradford at Couple Stadium over on the south side. This is a stone's throw away. Kicking off right around about 5 minutes.
I'd like to wish Bill Gallagher, who was an assistant coach of mine at Aberworth in 88 and 89 and 90. Wish him good luck.
The winner plays Bishop Carroll. Bishop Carroll's an interesting team. Guy, a lot of times a Class A team out of the WPIAL has rolled in the first round of the state playoffs, but Bishop Carroll's pretty good. They beat a good Sharpsville team last night in the quarterfinals of the playoffs, and there have been teams from the other districts that have been known to come up and bite the WPIAL team. Need we go back to the early 1990s that it happened to Rochester in the state playoffs. They lost to Smethport. Who the heck is Smethport? Their nickname's the Hubbers. What kind of team is that?
The what?
Their nickname's the Hubbers. What kind of team is that? That's what everybody said. Smethport knocked them off in the state playoffs.
Well, I don't think it's the case anymore now, but when the state playoffs first started, they were looked at as less important than WPIAL, sometimes a letdown. All right, here we go. 4th down. Will Fort Cherry get another chance?
I don't think he made it.
Moy dives, and it's going to be close. I don't think so either. I think Fort Cherry's going to get the ball back with a little less than 2 minutes to go.
I'm going to go the other way. He got it. I think he got it.
That's 1st down. That's 1st.
Rochester says it's a 1st.
Let's get a measurement here.
I heard Javon Bradley. That's 1st down, he's saying.
Yeah, I think he did get it.
Got it.
They're measuring.
They put the ball down just inside the 12, and that's about where the stick is. It's going to be real close, fellas.
My money's on making it.
Official measurement with 1:48 left in the game. They made it by a half a football.
You're 2-0, buddy.
And that's going to about do it for Fort Cherry.
Yes, sir. Sure it is.
In fact, some of the red-clad Fort Cherry crowd getting up and leaving Heinz Field now. There's Jim Gary. Looks like he's going to be disappointed again. Riverview beat him in 97, 19-14, a game they lost by 5 points that we did here on Fox Sports Net at Three River Stadium.
They're going to fall on the ball. Going to run the clock out. Yes, they are.
Adam Moore takes a lot of class.
It's a lot of class right here by Gene Matzook. Not to run up the score. Going to hit a knee and just run out the clock.
Well, also might be the smart thing to do, too. I mean, you hand that football off, something could still happen.
Yeah, they got away with a fumble in their second to last possession.
Fort Cherry's out of timeouts.
Well, here we go, guys. WPIAL champions since 1990 by conference. Big 7 with 9. Eastern 2. None for the Ohio Valley and the Tri-County South.
And once again, Gene Matzook still doesn't know what it's like not to win a championship.
Adam Moore will take the knee once again. 42 seconds to go on a turning clock. The Rochester Rams First WPIAL title game, 1984. They lost to Duquesne. Since then, they beat Southside Beaver in 91, beat Clairton in 92, beat Monaca in 98, and again last year going for number 5 here today. They've been in 5 title games before. They lost that first one to Duquesne, but this will be their 5th win in 5 championship games. And as Mike said, they'll move on to play Bishop Carroll. If they beat them next week, then they'll head to Hershey for the Class A state title. They kneel on it again. Sam, they played 15 games last year, but they went to the state championship. College teams love to play in a bowl game because the guys can practice. That gives them a lot more practice time and experience, and it showed today. Very even, but maybe a few less mistakes made by the champions. The Rochester Rams, 27-19, back-to-back WPIAL Class A champions. There's Gene Matzuk shaking hands. Always tough, boy. You start going to camp back in the summer. Now here it is after Thanksgiving, close to the holidays. All you worked for and comes to a close rather suddenly when you're on the losing end. When you're on the winning end, boy, it's great. You got state playoffs to look forward to next week.
And there's a very, very tight, close game. One mistake here or there, and your game's turned around. Really had some great performances here. That whole offensive backfield for Rochester is just out of sight. And Perry Ivory is just a tremendous talent that's going to be heard of again.
Well, I'm glad Rochester got another touchdown because I didn't want it to end 21-19, have any extra points or the failed 2-point conversion decide the game.
Well, they'll be celebrating in Rochester tonight, Guy, but really, you know, you mentioned it a little while ago.
In Beaver County. They celebrate in Rochester every Saturday night. It just might be a little louder tonight.
But I think what has happened nowadays, though, is I think teams in WPIAL now realize that, hey, winning the state thing is awfully big, too. And they've realized that's really what you get noted for. The WPIAL is a great, great thing. But that state thing has become just as big.
Yeah, that first year, Upper St. Clair didn't even go.
Oh, you had all kind of teams. There were school districts voting not to participate in the state playoffs.
There's Matzuk ready to get the Gatorade bath right here, right near the end of the game. Adam Moore's going to talk.
Adam Moore's setting them up like a good quarterback should.
Did I do good there kneeling on the ball? Ba-boom. Well, at least it's not that cold today. Up in the mid-60s. It would be worse if we had one of those typical championship Saturday weather forecasts here.
I don't think there have been many rather coaching acts in the WPIAL that have had 5 championships between them. Danny won 3 of them. He still helps out a little bit, comes to practice sometimes. I remember last year he was on the field, was a nervous wreck in a close game. Now Gene has 2 of them.
Well, it was an interesting ball game, and I think we saw a lot more offense than we thought. Both of these teams like to run the ball, keep it on the ground, and play great defense, and they did run the ball, particularly in the second half, but we saw some big passing plays in the game, particularly from Fort Cherry, converting on 3rd and long several times. Perry Ivory with 2 third-quarter touchdowns, though, helped Fort Cherry get back in it. A little bit of trouble on both sides. Rochester missed 2 extra points kicking, and that kind of throws everything out of whack. I mean, what we saw in the conversions the rest of the way were a result of some early misses rather than just playing it the standard way. Let's head down on the field now where Bill Fontana is standing by. Billy?
Guy, thank you very much. And Gene, you know, there's an old adage that, well, you never get tired of winning, but unique. You close Three Rivers Stadium, you open this one back-to-back goal, you do better than your brother standing over there, and that's impossible in 2 years. How do you feel?
Well, if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be in this situation right now. For what he's done, winning 3 WPIAL titles and a state championship, we just carried it on. And Danny, I'm just overwhelmed. I mean, it was just what a season. You know, we were down on the mat. We faced a lot of adversity. We've come off the mats, and here we are winning the WPIAL championship. A lot of people wrote us off. Hey, the cream always rises to the top.
Coach, I spent quite a bit of time with you earlier in the week, and you said, in retrospect, that the biggest ball game, probably the best thing that happened to you, was losing to Monaca at the end of the year.
I think it kind of helped us. We knew we didn't play our best game against them, and you know, we played our B game and nothing taken away from Monaca. They played a great game against us, but we've gotten better. And I tell you what, we're really hitting our stride right now. Our kids worked tremendously hard today. That was a good Fort Cherry football team. Perry Ivory, they have nothing to be ashamed about. Coach Gary, I told him after the game, I said, you're a champion in my book.
Well, it's a shame that he has to lose, or someone has to lose. But looking at your football team, were you surprised defensively so many points were scored?
Well, You know, we didn't want to give them that many points. Of course, the first time we shortened the field on them in the first quarter, we fumbled the ball. And of course, Perry Ivory did a tremendous job. I mean, he's quick. He's definitely a Division I kid. You know, they gave us fits sometimes with their speed. And but you know what? We rose to the occasion at the end. I thought our offensive line did a tremendous job today. We knocked them off the football, and we controlled the ball when we had to.
Finally, too, I know that your wife cooked last weekend for you. Now, is there some kind of plan, and you're going to watch the rest of the games on Fox?
I think I'm going to go home and relax and enjoy this with my coaching staff and my kids. And, you know, it's just, I'm overwhelmed right now because this one's more gratifying than last year just because everybody was gunning for us, and we still got to the top.
I was trying to watch. Did you throw a pass in the second half at all?
When we get up, we're going to control the football. And you know what? We did a great job of it.
Hey, congratulations. Best of luck to you in the States. That's the winning coach, Gene Matzuk. We're going to go back upstairs and rejoin Guy.
Thanks, Bill. Nice hat, too, by the way.
Tom Landry.
Nice. There you go, yeah. Well, I won't say anything about his lack of follicles up there and how cold it can get. Well, we've got one chapter written here, 3 more to go, AA, AAA, and then tonight the Quad A. Rochester Rams leaving the field. They are the Class A champs for the second straight year. 27-19, they defeat Fort Cherry. Back to Heinz Field right after this.
It's the gift of a grandchild's laugh. It's the gift of a sister's advice. It's the holiday gift they'll really love. Time together. Thanks to Verizon Wireless.
Now get 3,500 total monthly minutes for just $35 monthly access on select digital plans, so you can call anyone, anywhere in the U.S. and talk all you want with nationwide long distance included, and get a free Motorola phone with activation after mail-in rebate.
So give your loved ones the gift they really want. You. Verizon Wireless. Join in.
Got some spare change? Then get to McDonald's, because cheeseburgers are only 49 cents every Monday and Thursday. And every Sunday, 20-piece chicken McNuggets are just $2.99. 49-cent cheeseburgers and $2.99 20-piece chicken McNuggets, only at McDonald's.
Shouldn't you get your own subscription to the Pittsburgh Tribune-Review? It's a heavyweight newspaper at a lightweight price. Now you can get 13 weeks of the Trib every day for just $9.99. So get a better read on Pittsburgh at a better price. The Trib, just $9.99. Dog not included.
Come on. Great move. Shoot it, Lemieux. He scores! Yeah!
Back at Heinz Field, the Rochester Rams defeat the Fort Cherry Rangers 27-19. 3 touchdowns for Jermaine Moyer. Rochester, 3 touchdowns for Fort Cherry's Perry Ivory. Nate Waldron's touchdown for Rochester wins the battle between Ivory and Moy. It is the 5th WPIAL title for Rochester, the 5th since 1992. There's the scene in their locker room. What a thrill it is for these guys to come down here, not only to get to play where the Steelers and Pitt Panthers play, but also get to dress in the locker rooms at this brand new facility, and to know that they're moving on now to play Bishop Carroll in the state semifinals next week, and hopefully moving on to the championship games in Hershey that first full weekend in December. We have more action for you coming up here later today. The AA game will feature Beaver Falls, an up-and-coming team with Keith Humphreys in his first year as head coach against Guy Montecalvo's Washington team. Mike White, you heard him say, that may be one of the best AA teams in the history of high school football in Western Pennsylvania. Later today, the AAA game has West Allegheny and Hopewell. Hopewell's only loss of the year came against West Allegheny back in the opening game of the season. Are they good enough to avenge that one? And then tonight, the Quad A game. Seems like Woodland Hills is in it every single year. They'll play Central Catholic. When those two teams met in the regular season, it took until AAA for it to be decided. So it should be a great day. The weather's been terrific. Perfect football weather here at Heinz Field, and we hope you, if you can't watch it straight through all the way to the end of the day, we hope you join us on and off for all of these great football games here. What a tradition it's been in Western Pennsylvania for these championship games to be played at Forbes Field and Pitt Stadium and Three Rivers Stadium and now New Heinz Field. And it's been part of our tradition now for the better part of the last decade to bring those games to you. There you see the Washington Little Prexies in the black uniforms getting ready, warming up for their AA game. Rob King and Kevin Gorman will call that game for you. There's Beaver Falls in the orange and the white. Keith Humphreys, a former Aliquippa Fighting Quip as a player, brought Beaver Falls here. The only team that wasn't in the playoffs at all last year to make it to the finals here today. Take a look at some of the final stats from our Class A championship game. They were close all the way through 3 quarters, but Rochester, the dominant team in the 4th quarter, they finished with 10 more first downs than Fort Cherry. And look at that rushing yardage. That's where the real difference was shown. 242 yards on the ground for Rochester. We mentioned how they dominated the clock in their semifinal win over Farrell last week, controlling the ball for 35.5 minutes. They didn't dominate the clock today. Time of possession fairly even. If they wouldn't have had that success on the ground, it wouldn't even have been close. Fort Cherry able to throw the ball a little better. Nice game for Martinick passing. Not enough, though, at the end to be able to get the tying score. Total yards in the game, 267 to 200. The turnovers were even, and the penalties insignificant. Well-coached teams not committing penalties in a key game. Let's head down now to the celebration with Bill Fontana in the Rochester locker room. Bill?
Thank you very much, Guy. I'm with Nate Waldron, one of the stars for the Rochester football team. And you know, Nate, 2,000-yard rushers, and nobody really keyed on you, but you scored a big touchdown. Tell us what happened early in the ball game.
They were really king on Jermaine and Javon, and the line was blocking very well, and they were giving me holes that were wide open, and they weren't really worried about me. And our line played real tough to spring for my touchdown.
Did the kids say anything to you earlier in the week about winning a championship and closing Three Rivers and then opening this one up with winning the gold?
Yes, sir. That's basically, that was our saying, our motto for this year, that we closed Three Rivers and we wanted to open Heinz. And we played tough and we pulled it out today.
Nate, although there's a lot of celebration in here, it's kind of like a calm, subdued thing. Do you think that in recent years that the state championship means a lot more, not taking anything away from the WPIAL?
Yes, sir. We know, I mean, we celebrate today, but on Monday it's time to go back to work. I mean, this is just one of our goals. We have a lot of goals, and the state championship means more than this.
Congratulations to you. Let's try to grab the big guy over here. Jermaine Moy. What's up, big guy?
Nothing.
How many touchdowns today?
2.
No, you sure?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, okay. I just want to have some fun with you. Jermaine, I know you have some thick bloodlines. Tell me who your father is and who he played for.
My dad was a fullback. He played for Beaver Falls Tigers. He's playing out there right now, and
he was a pretty good athlete, wasn't he?
Yeah.
We're going to join the celebration right now as the WPIAL, but stick around. I want to ask some questions. Over to Gene Matzuk.
Hold on to this. Hey, listen up, guys. Coach, on behalf of WPIAL, I'd like to congratulate you, your coaching staff, and your players on an outstanding job. And I'd like to present you the WPIAL Class A Championship Trophy.
Yes. Yeah.
Gene Matzuk and the Rochester Rams.
Cricket Communications would like to say a few words.
Coaches, on behalf of Cricket Cultural Wireless, we'd also like to present your team with the WPIAL Championship T-shirt, and congratulations for joining.
All right, if we can grab Jermaine one quick second. Jermaine, were they keying on you today, or what was the game? I know the Fort Cherry, you guys were concerned. Good football team?
Yeah, they're a good football team, but we knew we were a smash-mouth football team. We just tried to run them up the middle and pound them down, break them down and stuff. And they came out at the beginning with a lot of fire in them, and we just had to take it out of them.
Last question. Were you concerned when you lost a couple of games this year that everybody thought maybe Rochester was down?
No, we know what we got to do. I mean, we got a lot of returning starters. I mean, juniors, seniors. We got a lot of leadership on our team, I think. So, no. I mean, we were down a little against Monaca, but we got all the seniors and juniors got together. We had a little talk, so we got everything together, and we're here now.
Congratulations, and enjoy the moment.
Thanks.
Hey, we're just minutes away from game number 2. It's Beaver Falls and the Washington Little Prexies coming up. We'll be back with more high school football from Heinz Field on Championship Saturday after this break on Fox Sports Net.
Today, this woman saw her paper published by a leading medical journal.
discussed a new technique with colleagues overseas, and recommended a course of care that she believes has the best chance of success. So why should an insurance company let this man decide if that care is really necessary? We still believe that the doctor knows best. UPMC Health Plan. Choose your health care as if your life depended on it.
Hey, Pittsburgh! Shopping for that one-of-a-kind pre-owned car? Dave Ford, Pittsburgh's Ford Giant, is going to make your day. We have the area's biggest selection of certified pre-owned cars, trucks, and vans. Every make and model imaginable. Trust us to save you money on the one you want. Whether you buy or lease, there is a better way at Dave Ford. Pittsburgh's Ford Giant on William Penn Highway across from the Monroeville Mall.
Gonna make your day.
Touch-up paint. Bendix brakes. TRW tie rods. Rabbit's foot. Advance Auto Parts carries more parts than any other store, including one you won't find anywhere else.
First driving lesson?
Advance Auto Parts. The best part is our people.
Discover the sparkle of fine jewelry and the brilliance of savings at National Jewelry Outlet. We carry a beautiful selection of well-made jewelry, and our service and quality is guaranteed. At National Jewelry Outlet, our prices are the lowest around. Half off all gold chains and bracelets. 75% off all sterling silver, and 50% off diamond rings and earrings, with diamond selection from 10 points to 20 carats. For diamonds, fine jewelry, and jewelry repair, visit National Jewelry Outlet, Olympia Shopping Center, Walnut, and Route 48 in McNewsport.
Welcome back to Heinz Field. One championship has been decided here today. The Rochester Rams, their second WPIAL title in a row. They beat the Fort Cherry Rangers 27-19 in a game that featured a whole lot more offensive fireworks than I think any of us expected. Mike White and Sam LaFaza were here to call the game with me. And guys, I thought this was going to be 3 yards in a cloud of dust. It turned out to be more like 33 yards in a cloud of dust.
You're exactly right, Guy. We thought coming into the game was going to be a defensive struggle, and it ended up being an offensive struggle. So it was really an exciting game, and I think at the end what happened was that Rochester's big people up front and those big backs just wore Fort Cherry down. And Mike, you kept saying Perry Ivory, there wasn't enough of them.
Well, when you look at championship games, Sam, a lot of times the teams that win it with two things: running the football and a good defense, and that's what Rochester had today.
Didn't take long for the fireworks to start either. Rochester fumbled the opening kickoff, and on the second play of the game, Trevor Martinick hit Perry Ivory for a touchdown. 2 plays, 28 yards, boom, 7-0 Fort Cherry, but the Rams, they didn't bat an eye. Next possession, they go 58 yards in 10 plays. Jermaine Moy with a 10-yard run. They missed the extra point. It was 7-6. Then after an Eric Buford interception, Nate Waldron goes 39 yards and makes it 12-7, and they go for the 2-point conversion, and Adam Moore takes it in. So they make up for the missed extra point, and it's 14-7 Rochester, and that was your score at halftime. Second half, Perry Ivory, a 6-yard run. Bad snap on the extra point attempt, though, so it stayed 14-13. Moy answered, 21-13 Rochester. Then here comes Ivory again. 46 yards on this play, makes it 21-19. They went for the 2 and came just short. And then Moy, early in the fourth quarter, his third touchdown of the game, made it 27-19. That extra point hit the upright, and that would be your final. Congratulations to Gene Matzuk there. 2 years now, 2 WPIAL championships. Not a bad start for a coaching career as a head coach.
Still doesn't know what it's like to lose that big game ever, and they'll go on to the state playoffs now and face Bishop Carroll. And this is a team, Guy, I think you're going to see them again next year possibly here. On offense, they start 6 juniors or sophomores. On defense, they start 6 juniors or sophomores. So get used to seeing Rochester at Heinz Field.
We are used to seeing them at Heinz Field.
We're used to seeing it at Three Rivers. First year at Heinz Field. There we go. All right.
My fault.
All right, we got to take a break. One championship's been decided. 3 more to go. When we come back, we're going to take a look at the teams in the AA title game. We'll show you a close-up look of the Beaver Falls Tigers. Stay with us.
When it's cold outside, warm up to Vanguard, the name to trust in zone heating. Vanguard heating products can add warmth and ambience to any home. And with energy costs rising, a Vanguard gas fireplace system is a very economical choice. resulting in energy savings that could lower your utility bill substantially. For unmatched beauty and economy, call the Vanguard dealer nearest you.
Coming from the cold, warm up to Vanguard.
Donkey! Donkey! Where's a good donkey? Donkey! Donkey!
You can always tell when people have spent too much money on car insurance. They don't have enough left over for decent transportation. 1-800-SAFE-AUTO. Minimum coverage for minimum budgets. Call now. What are you, stubborn?
I am Sonic Man. And I'm out to prove what a smooth, clean shave you'll get with the Panasonic Sonic Shaving Max. Dry, or wet, or wet, or wet. The world's fastest shaver. 13,000 RPM. And this is the one, baby. Smooth. And easy to rinse.
Fox Sports Net's TV coverage of the Steelers is superb. Sports Beat the Bill Cowher press conference, Pittsburgh Sports Tonight, and the Bill Cowher Show, yoy. Fox Sports Net is all over the Steelers.
Introducing the best damn sports show, period. It's 90 minutes of comedy, commentary, and all the scores and highlights you can possibly stand.
It's not sex, but it's close.
Weeknights at 7:30 and 11:30 on Fox Sports Net.
There's Beaver Falls. They're on the field getting ready for the AA championship game, warming up to take on the Washington Little Prexies. Welcome back to Heinz Field, everybody. Guy Junker along with Mike White and Sam LaFazzo. Mike, I know how highly you regard the Washington Little Prexies, but what a job Keith Humphreys has done with Beaver Falls, a team that wasn't even in the playoffs a year ago, all the way to the title game this year.
You know, they had big hopes at the start of the season with so many players back, but there was a question mark because they hadn't done it before. And the new coach with Keith Humphreys, he's come in and done a great job. This team can score points, Guy, in bundles. But the question today is, how can their defense hold up? It's been suspect at times, and they're facing one of the best AA offenses in Washington in a long time in the WPIAL.
Sam, you coach the Monaca Indians to a championship in 1975. Today, 3 of the 4 games has Beaver County teams in there. Some of those towns in Beaver County, with the decline of the steel industry and everything, they don't have the population they did in years past, but they continue to put out good football teams. Already, Rochester's won a championship. Beaver Falls is playing for one. Hopewell's. How do they keep doing it? What's special?
Well, what happens
about
is that it's just a tradition. I mean, it's in the water and it's in the blood and it's in the food they eat. But to being serious about it, the expectations, I mean, all of the ghosts that run around the Beaver Valley area, you're exposed to it on a daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly basis, and they get up every morning thinking that that's what their goals are and that's what they're going to strive to be. And it's not hard to motivate those kids down there. They motivate themselves. You just have to give them some direction.
Some impressive ghosts indeed. How about Tony Dorsett? How about Joe Willie Namath? How about Beaver
Sam
Falls?
LaFazzo.
That's Sam LaFazzo.
He's
Beaver
not a
Falls
ghost.
playing next.
We're right where we want to be, going in, playing the best team in WPIAL, especially in AA WPIAL. And I mean, it's a great thing. I feel good. I feel privileged just to be on this team and playing against a team like Washington.
Beaver Falls returned every starter this season, including Dane Williams, who's considered to be one of the top running backs in the WPIAL. Williams rushed for over 2,000 yards this season and surpassed the 4,000-yard barrier for his career. That's one of the main reasons this senior-oriented team is vying for its first WPIAL championship since 1984.
It's been a whole team effort. I mean, from the scout team defense to the wide receivers to the great offensive line I have. Everybody worked hard to push me to make me a better player, just like everybody else was pushed to be a better player. So now everything we've done this year has been as a unit.
Everything they did this year, you know, it was it's all their goals. You know, they wanted to win the conference championship, which we did, and now they wanted to get to Heinz and win the WPIAL championship. That's one of their goals, and win the state. So, you know, we're taking one game at a time, and our next goal is to win the WPIAL, and Washington, the Prexies are in our way.
Now that the Tigers made it, the next step is stopping the highest-scoring team in the WPIAL, Washington. Beaver Falls isn't intimidated. In fact, It likes the role of the underdog and knows what it has to do to upset the Little Prexies.
We're looking forward to it. We have respect for them, and we know that they're a great football team, but we're not going to lay down. We're going to give it our best shot, and hopefully we can knock them off. But, you know, if we don't, it's been a great season, but we're going to look forward to knocking them off, and it'd be a great accomplishment for our football team, being they're the #1 team in the state. And we're not getting, not too many people think we can win this football game, and I think that kind of motivates us as a team and a coaching staff.
No one expects us to win, but, hey, you know what, about them, they got to keep up with our offense. So they got to score as much as we do. And that's how we've been beating people. We're going to score, and you got to score more than we do to beat us.
All right, and there's Keith Humphreys here at Heinz Field today. What a job he's done in his first year as the head coach of the Beaver Falls Tigers. More Championship Saturday coverage coming up from Heinz Field here on Fox Sports Net right after this.
There's something genuinely healthy about competition. It eliminates complacency, pushes people to new heights, inspires new ideas. Our idea is to put healthcare decisions in the hands of the people who know best, the doctors. It's a better way of providing healthcare. UPMC Health Plan. Choose your healthcare as if your life depended on it.
Discover the sparkle of fine jewelry and the brilliance of savings at National Jewelry Outlet. We carry a beautiful selection of well-made jewelry, and our service and quality is guaranteed. At National Jewelry Outlet, our prices are the lowest around. Half off all gold chains and bracelets. 75% off all sterling silver, and 50% off diamond rings and earrings, with diamond selection from 10 points to 20 carats. For diamonds, fine jewelry, and jewelry repair, visit National Jewelry Outlet, Olympia Shopping Center, Walnut and Route 48 in McHughesport.
Zip, zilch, 0% financing. Area Suzuki dealers have 0% financing on 2002 Suzukis, Vitaras, Grand Vitaras, XL7s, and Esteems, all with 0% financing. Lease a 2002 four-wheel drive XL7 for only $279.95 per month for 39 months. Now is the best time ever to visit Pittsburgh area Suzuki dealers, but you gotta hurry. 0% financing ends soon.
1, 2, 3. 1-800-LEAKY-BA. Hey, basement problems. 1-800-LEAKY-BA. Load basement walls. 1-800-LEAKY-BA. Basements made dry. 1-800-LEAKY-BA. Cracked basement walls. 1-800-LEAKY-BA. Any basement problem. 1-800-LEAKY-BA. Hey, live in Ohio. 1-800-LEAKY-BA. Live in Pennsylvania. 1-800-LEAKY-BA.